Central and I found this.
Being part of this closed circuit of friendship that has cut me off from friends, hobbies, and sunlight. Doing it for the clout.
Two. Check two. Hello. Check two. Hello, everyone. Hello, Dane. Thank you for the raid, folks. We got a hype train. Early hype train. Again, when there's less viewers, so probably when there's the least valuable time for it. Thank you, Twitch. Thank you, Twitch algorithm, for that. Vlad the Victor. First of all, Lodane, thank you for the raid. I hope the extra long intro was good today. I hope the extra long intro was fine. Sorry that it's only 3 o'clock here. 3 o'clock. I'm starting. Vlad the Victor. 11 months of Prime. Thank you, Vlad. Comrade Social Distancing. 21 months of Prime from Comrade Social Distancing. Thank you, Comrade Social Distancing. Plunger Man. 11 months. Resub at tier 2. Thank you, Plunger Man. Very much appreciate it. Johnny Dialectically. Relatively new community member. But 5 months. 5 months of tier 1 from Johnny Dialectically. It says 2 months in his message. Not sure what that discrepancy is. Alana as well. Thank you for the 15 months. Resub at tier 2. Thank you, Alana. Welcome, everyone. Hello. Okay, I'll tweet. I'll tweet that I'm live. Okay? You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Clout.
Goth Engel Sinner. Look at that. 21 entire months of tier 1. Thank you very much. Cloud indeed. Cloud indeed. That's what it's all about, isn't it? That's what it's all about. Okay, what am I tweeting here? Is it just the link? Am I throwing anything else on there? This is the question. The eternal question. And we're 20% of the way to level 3 of this hype train, folks. So if anyone was planning on donating friend coin or gifting subs today, now is the time to do it. Now is the time to do it. You may not get another chance. You know, you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. You know? Oh boy, now we're running out of time. This is too much. I literally just Googled funny pictures. I just Googled funny pictures. Nothing is really speaking to me in terms of a picture I could attach to this. What about this? What about this image? Would this work as a I'm live image? What about this? Oh, you know what? I didn't change the background or anything. It's a new week. It's a new week. You know what? I'll keep this one final day. Tomorrow we'll go to a different background. How about that? What about this? Is this a good I'm live now image? Well, this works, right? This is pretty good. Sure. Why not? Let's do that. Okay. Done. But also keep this image on the screen. We did it. I'm doing better at this. I tweeted that I'm live. I'm getting better at this. I'm getting better at this little game. Okay. Yeah, the hype train. The hype train pulled out of the station a little bit early. That's okay. No problem. No problem at all. So yeah, sorry that I'm a little late. It's basically the last day of summer. Hey, old Dutch. My kid is back in school tomorrow. Obviously, he's very thrilled about that. So it's the last day, like the whole last 2.5 weeks or so has been kind of trying to figure out a schedule, like with him here and with my partner doing work stuff as well. I brought him to his friend's house today for like a last day of summer kind of hangout. This is when to swim in the pool and everything like that. And I meant I would try to leave a little bit earlier to start the stream normally, which I've been doing at around 2 lately. And he was just really he was not interested in the idea of staying there without me being there. So I had to kind of just like stick around in front of it a little bit. And eventually I was just like, okay, we have to leave now. And he just came back with me. He was all sad. He was all sad when I tried to leave. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to leave you and traumatize you so I can go do my Twitch stream. You know? I'm not going to leave you like crying here so I can go hop on Twitch. But that's where I was at. That's why we're a little bit later today. Starting a little bit later. And tomorrow, again, he's going back to school tomorrow. So we'll be starting the stream once again tomorrow at normal time, 12 p.m., 1 a.m. Pyongyang time. Oh my god, that's so harsh, G-Cluppy. Oh my goodness. I'm fine with it. Tomorrow everything will be all back to normal. All back to normal. Last day of summer. Yeah, of course he's upset. He's really not thrilled about this whole going back to school thing. I don't think it's totally clicked in for him that that's what's going on. I'm trying to like prepare him emotionally and mentally for that. Like, we were going back to school tomorrow. Yay, you know? But it's like, you know, it's the last day of summer. He's not super thrilled about it. Not much I can really do. And yeah, as Lodane is saying in the chat, if you're watching currently or not familiar with this, please, we do have a waiting room pre-show before almost every TRRS stream. Either Sean Meat or Lodane. And today, for instance, hung in for a whole extra 3 hours while I was figuring out what I was doing. Does he get really excited for school too, though, or is the separation thing an issue? A little bit. He's definitely not that excited for school. I don't think he's not thrilled about that. Either the separation thing or just the being in school thing in general. This whole arrangement where you got to go to school for 20 years, he's not into it. And frankly, I understand. You know, it's understandable. You know, I've talked a little bit before too about how he's like, I think he's had a bit of a hard time adjusting at school for a couple of reasons. Yeah, and his school it's technically part of the English school board, but because it's French immersion, they try to do it like predominantly in French the first couple of years, and we speak English at home. I think he finds that a little bit uncomfortable. You know, he's trying his best, but it's like he's going to school in a language that he doesn't speak that often. So it's a big kind of like, I think it's a little bit scary. So there's that, you know, and for that and a number of reasons, I think he's had a little bit of a hard time adjusting to school. Which is interesting because, like, I know, you know, I think you get the impression from his teachers that he would have a hard time doing certain things, like doing a presentation or anything like that. But it's interesting because, like, I talk to him all the time, and he's such a smart guy, you know? I don't know if he's ever going to be, like, a smart school guy. But, like, you know what I mean? He might, maybe. I hope so. But, like, he came on the show the other day, remember, and was talking about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde for like a good 5-10 minutes, and he's super confident, and he's funny, and he's articulate. You know, I feel like if that was in a school environment, that would be really hard for him. But when he's here and he's at home and he's comfortable, and there's like 100 something people watching, you know, on Twitch, he's got no problem whatsoever. You know? But you know, he's going to do okay. He's going to do fine. And he can read. He's starting to. That's the thing. He can read a few words, and he knows Jekyll and Hyde. And I was really amazed by that. Actually, he read the comment that said Jekyll, Jekyll, Hyde, Hyde, Jekyll, and he knew that it was the song we were looking at. I thought that was pretty clever. And I even got him the like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde book, the like illustrated version, and he's starting to be able to read a little bit of it too. It's like he's starting to really. He's like I was sitting down and looking at the words with him, and he was like doing pretty good. So it's, that's the kind of thing, is that I think he's a really, really smart guy, really sharp guy. And I'm not sure that that's always going to be reflected in school stuff. Maybe I'm just being paranoid or whatever, but yeah, as a teacher, I can confirm being good at school and being smart are not the same thing. Yeah, but that's what I tell myself, though. It's just that, like, I'm really, really confident in his, like, the abilities that he has, no matter what, whether that's reflected or not in a school environment. Like, I know he's a really great guy. So, crack open my Diet Coke here. Couple things to get into today, gang. Couple things to take a look at today. I'm looking forward to getting back on a regular schedule as well. Chin chin. How was everyone's weekend? Is it all right? Good weekend? I was one of those gifted, lazy kids, graduated with a C average, but I turned out okay once I found my path. You actively support them and they'll turn out fine. Good support network and people who cared about me helped tremendously. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. And like we were saying too, it's just like not putting all the stock into like test scores and report cards and stuff. And, I don't think there's much point in stressing out kids over that kind of stuff, especially when they're that young. To the Jekyll Hyde thing, I think it's very normal for kids that age to be really engaged to things that interest them, but disengaged from things they don't. Yeah, my daughter loves school, but she half-asses every little morning workbook thing that they get given, but a school project like building something with popsicle sticks, she does great. That's the thing. It's hard for a 6-year-old to be like, now you have to pay attention to this thing and not move around and not talk. Now you have to pay attention to this thing that you have zero interest in. It's like, I understand for some kids that comes easily, but for some kids it really doesn't. Restful, woke up being told I got a promotion while on PTO with a 40% pay raise. I'll take it. Hell yeah. I'd like one of those. And if nothing else, school is not geared at all towards different learners at all. Their homogenization factories all the way down.
Old Rob to talk you through all this.
Happy 21 years, Rob. I am glad to be a part of this community that is definitely not a cult or a pyramid scheme. TRRS Rob Knife.
No, it is not. That's absolutely right, Kijiji. Thank you so much. 21 months of Tier 1. And as you pointed out, definitely not a cult or a pyramid scheme. So nothing to worry about for anybody in this community. Nothing to worry about at all. Do I not have nodders anymore? What is my emotes seem messed up in the chat here? But yeah, to your point too, their homogenization factories all the way down. I don't think it's really helpful to. Okay, you have to do all caps. I see. You have to do all caps nodders. I don't think we should fetishize like Scandinavia. There's this whole idea of like the socialists that, I'm not one of these scary socialists. I'm one of these Scandinavian socialists. But I think this whole idea that I think some places in Scandinavia kind of practice when it comes to school for kids, where it's just like, you just go play outside all day. Just go play outside, look at bugs under a rock and stuff. Just go like dance and put on costumes and stuff. I mean, that's, I think, probably a better environment for a lot of people, including my kid, would probably thrive in that kind of situation as well. Let's go find some weird bugs. All right. Go build some furniture. Yes, standardized testing for sure. It's not good. Hello, Sean. I'm sorry your tum-tum hurts. I'm sorry to hear that. I've been having some stomach issues as well over the course of this summer. Not pleasant. Not pleasant at all. Eat some lutefisk. Always a good solution. You know? Even if you feel fine. Even if you feel totally okay, it's always good to even just to be safe. That's why we have Ravishing Rob to talk us through all this. That's right. That is correct. I think lutefisk is one of the it's like some kind of a salted fish that's brined in like some kind of like ammonia or something. Right? Am I correct in that? That smells like pee or something? That's my understanding. It's like a foul-smelling salted fish. I'm not sure. They used urine back in the day. It was pea shark meat. So that's not great. Hey, Lizard, how's it going? What's up? You know, there's that whole discourse about like the Swedish not offering people lunch or whatever. Maybe they're just doing people a favor. I don't know. You know? People were talking about how rude it was and stuff, and it is kind of, but like maybe they're just trying to prevent people from eating some bunch of weird stuff. Bunch of weird, gross stuff. You know? Fermented piss shark. Yeah, there we go. I was homeschooled for grades 3 to 6 and chose to go back to public school on my own, with my mom's promise I could come home whenever I wanted. Really helped me stay motivated knowing it was my own choice. I think that's a pretty good way to do it. Giving the choice, I mean, that's good. Having the option. Lutefisk is dried whitefish, normally cod, but ling and burbot are also used. It is made from aged stockfish, air-dried whitefish, or dried and salted cod cured in lye. It is gelatinous in texture after being rehydrated for days prior to eating. That just sounds revolting to me. That sounds really not good. Really not pleasant, I don't think. I'm going to homeschool my kids for preschool and maybe kindergarten. We'll see past that. Like that's kind of the thing with my kid is like I think he would probably be better in that environment. You know, I think probably he would be better off like that, but it's just I don't have the time or the ability to do that for him, you know? I think he'd probably prefer it, definitely.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Alman the Man, thank you very much for the Prime sub. Brand new community member. Alman the Man. Let's give a hand to brand new community member Alman the Man for subscribing. I guess it was really pulled in by the fermented pea fish discourse. How do I Prime sub? Well, if you have an Amazon Prime account, then you have one free Twitch Prime subscription each month. So when you go to click subscribe, there's a little box that says to use your Prime sub, and you can use that to subscribe totally free of charge. Completely free of charge. People just can't resist a good Shrek. That might have been it, actually. People are going wild on Twitter for the Shrek image, including Lily. I begged to be homeschooled. Mom also wouldn't let me advance grades like they wanted to do because she said I needed socialization with children of my age. I did plenty with adults. I was that old soul kid. I don't know if she was super right, but I dropped out in 9th grade due to bullying and homeschooled from there. Interesting. I mean, sometimes you just know, right? Sometimes kids just know what they need, and you do have to kind of listen to them. Mac Luster. That is how you subscribe using Prime. I don't know, it might, unless it's different in whatever country you're in, but I believe when you click subscribe, you just get a little option to use your Prime subscription. Rob, you like Cluppy's comment, but not the one before. What's up with that? It's because I thought your comment was disturbing and inappropriate. And I respect you, Outrun, Marty. I'm happy that you boost my I'm live tweets. I didn't feel like that. I felt like a like on that comment that was condoning the content of it. And I just wasn't comfortable with that. I was not comfortable with doing that. The Shrek image is getting some engagement. It is getting more engagement. I should do this more. Any other chit chat? Did we get all the niceties out of the way? Sometimes the joke crashes into a mountain and the passengers have to resort to cannibalism. Johnny, I think you have great chat contributions. I think you have wonderful chat contributions, Johnny. And I appreciate it. What else do we got? One thing that I do want to talk about today is the Chrystia Freeland thing, because of the extent to which Canadian media was just kind of freaking out about Chrystia Freeland being yelled at. Everyone's freaking out about Chrystia Freeland being yelled at, so it's like there's a whole 3 days of discourse about it. But the Prime Minister has weighed in on it. I was like, I don't really care about this, and I got accused of being abusive towards women because I was like, I don't care. I don't care about someone yelling at Chrystia Freeland. It doesn't bother me. Yeah, it would be cool if Freeland got yelled at for being a Nazi sympathizer instead of whatever insane conspiracy theory bullshit that Pierre cooked up. And that's time and time again what happens with this, all these people that protest Trudeau or Freeland or whatever, I don't like any of the people doing the protesting. The reason that they don't like Trudeau or they don't like freedom are 100% diametrically opposed to the reasons that I don't like them. These people think that like Chrystia Freeland and Justin Trudeau are communists, and I am a communist, and I'm like, I want them to be more like that, and I believe that they're fascists, and these people just they can't square that circle. They can't figure that out. So when things like that happen, it's just like, yeah, I don't care about Chrystia Freeland getting yelled at. I don't like or agree with the people that are doing the yelling, but like, you
can count on me.
It's
You're
all
gonna
right.
have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
It's not a big deal. Macluster. There you go. You figured it out. Thank you very much for the 2 months of Prime. And again, you can resub each and every month with that Amazon Prime, Twitch Prime option. Completely free of charge. Completely free of charge. Thank you very much, Macluster. The ghosts of a lot of dead Venezuelans probably want to yell at her too. Yeah. I banned a guy from a chat for saying Oswald killed JFK because he wasn't communist enough. Yeah, that's baby brain stuff. That's real baby brain stuff. We can look at the clip. Should I address the kind of like drama thing that happened that was posted in the TRRS channel? Do I even need to talk about it? Do I even need to talk about it? Because there was like a mildly popular gaming account, and one of the individuals that was on this gaming account has some kind of vendetta against me and was like yelling about it. I honestly don't really want to talk about it that much because the last time that I brought this up, people immediately snitched to the people in question. And then I had people coming in here to start more shit and like clipping stuff. There's beef, you folks know that I hate that kind of beef. I hate to see that kind of beef. If you want to see the tea, it's in the TRRS channel in the Discord server. Someone clipped it. I didn't look at the clip because like looking at that kind of stuff upsets me. But I guess I came up on one of these streams last night, and the person in question was like, "That guy, he built his whole career talking about the United States, and he's Canadian, and he has free healthcare already." And like, I think like I've talked endlessly about why I think it's important to talk about the United States. We don't need to relitigate all that kind of stuff. It's the fucking global hegemon, right? It's the global hegemon. What happens in the United States government affects all countries around the world, including Canada. So I think it's kind of important to pay attention to what happens in the United States government. Just the small bean U.S. empire. It's like, it's sad because these are people that are like, oh, they've built brands on being like leftists, and they still have this kind of like American exceptionalism mindset. You can't talk about, you live here. You can't even talk about it. Which is I just find that annoying. But again, I've talked endlessly about why I think it's important to talk about. In case you forgot, you're Canadian. Checkmate. I mean, that's kind of what people think. That's what people think about me, I guess. That was the whole thing with me, though, because like I'm actually conscious of foreigners, like either from Canada or from Australia or wherever else, who only ever focus on America, or even who use what's going on in America to talk about their own societies as how it's a lot better. I find that annoying too when there's people from other countries that exclusively only ever talk about the United States. I've always been very conscious of that. And even though I think it's important to talk about America, I've always been like, especially when I started developing a platform online, I was like, well, I'm gonna make sure that I use this platform to also talk about Canada. And like, as long as I've started to develop a platform online, I started a podcast, 49th Parahell, where I explicitly made the effort to take that kind of like analysis and talk about Canada and talk about the United States and talk about how all these struggles are linked and talk about different things that are going on in foreign policy and around the world and everything like that. So I've always like made that effort. I think it's like, I mean, listen, some of these people, they call me like a clout chaser or whatever. And that's what I think a lot of this anger is about. Although I would say like, if people are still angry about like clout stuff, or that like I somehow have this platform that I just don't deserve because I'm not American. If people are still angry about that, like 4 years later, I haven't even interacted with any of these people for like, since like 2018. And 4 years later, they're still not only still talking about me, but like literally getting mad and talking about it. I would say they're significantly more obsessed with clout shit than I ever was. And like, again, I'm sensitive to this kind of stuff. Like I did knowingly, I looked around in 2018, especially, and I saw like Michael Brooks, what he was doing. I listened to Chapo Trap House a lot. And I was just like, oh, this is so cool. Like, I really want to be a part of this, you know? I really want to be a part. I want to be able to do this myself. And, you know, in terms of building an online platform in order to do that, yeah, I kind of did what I had to do to do that. You know, I could have just like not done anything to build a platform, and then I would not have the ability to do any of this stuff today. Or I could have just built a platform the only way I knew how to do it. And that's given me this like amazing opportunity to be able to talk about this stuff. So, you know, I kind of get it, but I think it's like, I think it's a little disingenuous to like still be mad years. It's weird and kind of sad to years later still be like mad about this. Like I somehow have this thing that I just don't deserve, or like I'm not allowed. Because of course these guys pick and choose who's allowed to comment on what, right? They still like, you know, they're still like, they have friends that are in the UK or Australia or other places that talk about this shit all the time. And, you know, that doesn't seem to be a problem. But because like they have this little like cool clique or club or whatever, they decide who's allowed to do that and who's not allowed to do it. So I thought that was a little bit silly. And again, I don't even want to really get into it much more than that. I don't want, I don't like having beef or whatever. When it was clear to me that those guys like didn't like me for whatever reason and blocked me and like were talking shit about me, I just kind of moved on with my life. I stopped engaging with the content. I was kind of just like, all right. And I just kind of stopped paying attention to it. I will say this though. I would have a much easier time just laughing that kind of stuff off if people connected to that crew hadn't gone online and like spread horrible, shitty rumors about me being like a groomer and stuff, and going through my old tweets from 10 years ago, taking them out of context and trying to suggest that I'm some kind of fucking creep. That I thought was a little bit over the line when it comes to this like online Discord, online political stuff. I thought that was a little bit over the line, and that legitimately caused me like significant psychological damage. So I would have a lot easier time just chuckling at that and laughing it off if that kind of shit hadn't have happened, which I did not appreciate in any way. And it literally like had a significantly negative effect on my mental health. So I would have a lot easier time just shrugging that off if it wasn't for that. Maybe people are mad at you talking about America because they're shy. Maybe that's it. Eric. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know if I had anything else I wanted to address about that. I find it pretty funny to be like still mad about like clout shit 4 years later. Like literally just talking about it completely unprompted and getting mad about it later. And I guess the whole, like, the Bernie thing, people get resentment about that. And you know what? That's another thing. It's like I realized in like 2019, when the whole presidential primary was kicking off, it occurred to me based on like how things were shaking out that I was like, oh, I can be like one of the larger like Bernie supporters online. And I kind of leaned into that, you know, because I was really passionate about it. People can suggest that I did it just for purely cynical clout reasons, but I was very passionate about it. You know, that's why I did it. As were many, many people around the world, not just in Canada, but around the world, wanted Bernie to maybe win. So maybe something good could happen in the United States. Maybe someone who's like vaguely progressive could actually become president of the United States. But lo and behold, I actually believe that was not only a possibility, but was a good outcome. That would have been meant good things, both for the United States and for countries around the world. Millions of people around the world loved Bernie and wanted Bernie to win the presidential primary. So I guess people can take this like cynical view of that. Like I was only participating in that for my own selfish reasons, because I wanted clout, because I wanted to build a career of this kind of stuff. Like people can say what they want, but I was very, very genuine in my enthusiasm for Bernie and for the idea of like, you know, someone from outside that political club winning the Democratic Party primary, maybe being slightly better as a president than, you know, what ended up happening. Another thing too is I thought it was very telling, and this is the last thing I'll mention about this. This is the last thing I will mention about this, but this idea that like, why are you talking about it? You live in Canada and you only have healthcare. You already have healthcare. You have free healthcare. Why are you talking about Bernie? Why are you talking about America? And I think that's really revealing, to have that kind of mindset, to be like someone who has also built a brand from being like a leftist. But you realize when you hear kind of comments like that, a lot of these like hipstery, ironic Brooklyn leftist types, that's to them, that's what socialism is. It's like, I want my healthcare, and they don't really care about anything else. They don't care about the internationalism. They don't care about like, you know, imperialism. They don't care about all these very real things. They don't care about building socialism, which is a worldwide project that we're all kind of trying to be a part of. It's like, what do you have healthcare? Like, what are you already complaining? They just want, they want they want Medicare for all, and that's the only thing they give a shit about. Or like, I didn't think that, but when they make those kind of comments, that kind of seems what the impression that I get. The logic doesn't really work. You have healthcare, so you can't bitch about our inhumane setup. I think a lot of less talented streamers resort to making fun of people when filling airtime with little analysis going into it. Yeah, I think that's part of it. Yeah. And I don't know. I just, I find it pretty lame. I find it pretty lame that this is still being talked about like years later by these guys. I saw one tweet by one of these guys, and I'm sorry for being vague. Again, I don't like having beef with people, and I don't like calling this kind of stuff out. I did see a tweet from one of these guys that are part of this like this gaming channel a couple years ago, being like, I remember Rob Rousseau like tried to get on one of our streams for a charity thing, and I immediately blocked him. And it's like, okay, like that's kind of weird to me, but like, all right, sure, that's fine. Again, like when it became clear to me that like I had rubbed these people the wrong way for whatever reason and they didn't like me, I simply moved on with my life, and that's all I've tried to do. People came, like I remember the last time this came up, people were like, you broke up with them, you broke up with Chapo or whatever. And it's like, not really. It's just I really enjoyed listening to the podcast. I certainly wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now if I hadn't been influenced by them in the first place. Absolutely. You know, I had Will Menaker on my podcast a couple of years ago now. He was a super generous guy, super nice guy. I really enjoyed talking with him. But when people connected to their like crew started saying mean and hurtful things to me, I simply was just like, all right, well, I'm going to stop listening to this now. You know, I'm just going to stop listening to this because obviously I'm not really like welcome in this little club, and you know, that's okay. That is fine. That's fine with me. And again, I would have a lot easier time just kind of shrugging that off if I hadn't been like personally attacked pretty horribly and pretty below the belt, if you ask me, based on this like kind of online clout cliquey high school bullshit. I thought that was pretty over the line. And if you know, I would have a lot easier time just going, whatever, if it wasn't for that kind of stuff, because I still have like I have lingering trauma from that happening. And again, especially like someone was saying, I'm someone that has really tried to have this sort of chill vibe and not ruffle any feathers or like get involved in any of this kind of shit. I was never really understanding like why that happened, but whatever. Anyway, I do find it kind of sad to be still mad about this kind of stuff years later, literally like 4 years later, you know? that I think is a little bit weird, but whatever. It sounds like some BS turf war. Yeah, like that's ultimately that's what it is. It's like high school cafeteria level. You're not part of like the cool group kind of thing. Like that's what, and I'm almost fucking 40 years old. Like I'm not gonna spend time obsessing over that, you know? I'm not. But, you know, I guess I came up on this thing. It got posted in the Discord. I didn't look at the clip because, again, I find it kind of upsetting. I didn't look at the clip, but people were talking about me, so I thought I should address it because I do find it a little bit, I find it a little sad, and it's a criticism that I've never fully understood. I will say that. Especially since, like, as I said, I have made a concerted effort for this exact reason. I've made a concerted effort to make sure that I am focusing on Canada and make sure that I am. I'll talk about America because I think it's important. But I find it annoying myself when Canadians or when Australians or British people or whoever else only focus on America. I do find that weird and kind of odd. And since I started doing this shit, I told myself that I was not going to be one of those people. The idea of anyone being furious with Rob is funny to me. You're a nice person. Well, I've always tried to be very nice, Sean. I've always tried to be very nice. Never been more happy to be out of the loop on something. I'll put a pin in that now. I will put a pin in the beef discourse. You folks know that I don't enjoy talking about this shit. If you want to see the clip, if anyone wants to see the clip, it's in the TRRS Discord channel. I've alluded heavily to what it is a couple times. Please show me Christia getting yelled at. I think maybe first, before we do that though, Sinchel, we should watch the Hunter Biden thing. I have not watched the Hunter. I waited this whole weekend and did not watch the Hunter Biden trailer. To be honest, he's Canadian. He shouldn't have an audience. Sure sounds like a lot of gamers with 0 viewers claiming that booby streamers stole their view count. Well, here's the thing, Lodane. It's like a lot of these people, because like after, you know, Twitter user Randy's famous tweet about voting, you know, I love working at the post office and tearing up Republican ballots or whatever. Because I did a couple tweets, because like at that time, people started doing those tweets all the time, you know, not just me. But because I did a couple of those and kind of gained notoriety from doing those kind of style of posts, even though it was very, very obvious that it was not like accurate, it was not being, you know, it was not serious. I was like a blue check journalist account. Obviously, I'm not like doing any of this stuff. It was just very clear that I was not. But I guess because I did Randy's thing, I guess that's their thing that they hold over that's like I was like illegal or something. That's the only reason I had a platform. The reality is, you know, I didn't just develop a platform here or on Twitter because of one tweet or because of one thing that I did. You know, I put time and effort into doing that. And you know what? Frankly, I'm good at doing it too. That's the kind of thing that none of these people seem to want to engage with. They don't actually watch this content. They don't listen to my podcasting that I do. They don't know fucking anything about me. They just know that I'm like an annoying Canadian guy on Twitter. That's all they know. They've developed this whole headcanon about it. That's the reason that I have a platform now, is because I'm actually good at doing this shit. So it's not because I cheated. It's not because I had some kind of like, cheat codes or like, that I just talked about Bernie Sanders because I wanted to build a platform. It's not. It's because I'm good at doing this shit, and I have a perspective that people want to listen to.
You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
You know, it's a good idea. Gatekeeping people out of being on your side. Yeah, I agree. The infinite cloud glitch. That's right. It's like, it's hard. It's very difficult to build a big platform. Believe me, it's really difficult. Deletion Quarter, brand new community member. Thank you for the tier 1 sub. Brand new community member today. A couple. We love it. Thank you. Online leftists thinking anyone is clout chasing when it's much easier to clout chase or grift on the right. This is also coming from people that have platforms, not because that... This is coming from people that have platforms because they're connected to and are friends with people that are smarter and more talented than they are. That's the reality. So I find some of that criticism maybe a little disingenuous. I'm just a simple think tank director, but I think those other guys are dumb and wrong. Thank you, thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. Ego Robs step on their necks, daddy. Oh boy. I see Rob is talking about his Canadian drama to avoid his cancellation over the women's brains are like pancakes allegations. I would never ever even dream of saying such a thing. I would never do that. I think it's fine when non-Americans deal exclusively with the USA, which is dominating most of the world, especially if the vassal states in which they live are entirely beholden to American foreign politics. Yeah, I mean, I think it's understandable. And I've talked before also about not only does America dominate other countries politically around the world, but culturally as well, exporting their culture all over the world that we all have to live under, right? Anyone that lives in a capitalist country basically lives in some different version of America, some regional different version of America. And not only exporting their culture, but taking their news and turning that into culture and exporting that as well. So we're all exposed to the constant fucking humiliating bullshit going on in America every single day. And you talk about me as a Canadian, a lot of people around the world, the things that like radicalized me, the main political things that I remember growing older and being affected by. You have Bush, the Iraq War, Obama, the financial crisis, Occupy Wall Street, Trump. Like these things have far-reaching consequences all around the world. All around the world, to people in Canada and elsewhere. And it's really strange to me to be an American, to build up a platform as like a leftist or being associated with them anyways, and not understanding this basic concept about the role that America plays around the world. I'm an American literally begging for Christia content. You just really want to see this lady get yelled at, don't you, Sin Chow? We'll move on. New York leftists are a big part of why I kind of felt alone for a long time in my politics. I couldn't get along with libs here, but the leftist side men in NYC are just so, I don't know, I feel like I fit in here without feeling like everyone is trying to be the smartest person in the room. Well, thank you, Terry. I'm glad you feel that way. The taxi driver that drove me to my hotel in Korea immediately asked me about Trump, but I didn't answer his question until I knew whether he had health care or not. Jesus. You've got health care. Why are you talking about this stuff? Okay. Well, there's more to it than that, but... I'm moving on now. That's the end of the beef segment. Stick to sports. That's the end of the beef segment. I hope this doesn't escalate. Literally last time this came up, this escalated and I got clipped and put in some Discord server, and I had weird freaks coming in here to further this beef. I'm hoping that doesn't happen this time. Maybe it will, but I feel like I feel like I'm morally and in the right, so that's gonna have to do. Let's oh shit, that's the wrong one. Wrong window. Let's watch this Hunter Biden thing, because I've not watched it yet. And I'm moving on from the beef segment now. Oh shit. Why do I have only this one? And why do I have only this window? Sorry, let me just fix this. I'll just be one moment. This was a temporary beef zone. Any future beef throwers will be escorted away and thrown into the beef pit. Thank you, Red Scary. Thank you. I'm fine with Canadian opinions so long as they don't think they're any better than the U.S. Well, and Johnny, again, like I said, I completely understand. I completely understand that it would be weird, and it is. I find it weird and annoying myself when there's like smug Canadians anytime something happens in America being like, thank God we don't live here, or use that as an example to talk about our healthcare system, or use that as an example to talk about how wonderful and multicultural Canada is. That is fucking annoying as shit. If those people are not helpful, I don't like those people either. But I've deliberately, consistently made efforts to not ever be like that. I gotta fix up my window here. Just be one moment while I finish that. So confusing. I'm almost done here. Having a weird window issue. We should be good to go after. Okay. Is this it? Okay, this looks like it. So has everyone watched this? This is the commitment that I have to this stream and this community is that I have not.
This is some guy, Rob Russo, some leftist based in Canada.
Goodness, what
I was turned on to this sick individual, and I found this.
Great timing. Thank you so much, TYT, for the raid. Welcome. Bring it in here. Happy to have you. Get in chat. Smash the follow button. Smash the follow button if you want to chat, or just smash it anyways because this is a good Twitch channel and you should follow it. I am Rob Rousseau. You might know me from twitter.com. You might know me from this stream. I also do a podcast with TYT's own Jordan Ewell, The Insurgents, which you can listen to at theinsurgents.substack.com. That's me. I'm a socialist Twitch streamer here in Montreal. Happy to have you all join the stream today. I appreciate it. How was the TYT stream? Is it good? Good stuff? What did you folks talk about today? You just got here right at the perfect timing. I have not. The big Canadian homie Rob. That's me. That's right. That's what they call me. I have not watched this trailer to My Son Hunter. I have not. I saw that the trailer dropped this weekend, the full trailer, and I have not. As I was saying, this is my commitment to this channel and this community, which is that I have not engaged with it whatsoever because I'm going to watch and react to this live on Twitch and turn it into content for people to enjoy. Please tell me there's a graphic crack smoking scene. I don't know if there is in the trailer. We'll see. But in the movie. I'm certain there is. Directed by Hollywood legend Robert Davi. Hollywood legend Robert Davi of Die Hard. He was in Predator 2 as well. I watched Predator 2 a couple weeks ago when I was sick with COVID. Robert Davi's in there. I will always remember him from, I think it's a Breitbart movie. Close, but it's a Breitbart movie. Featuring also Gina Carano. That's her name, right? Who was close to getting a Star Wars spin-off for herself and now is like, because of her transphobia and her like unapologetic like conservative bigotry, is now starring in a Breitbart movie about a Secret Service agent that gets her hair sniffed by Joe Biden. So big L for Gina on this one. Big L. They actually didn't use a Hollywood top scruffy. I think they filmed it in like Slovakia or something. Literally, all she had to do was shut the fuck up. She would be on Disney Plus right now in her own Star Wars spinoff. One of the all-time biggest bag fumbles that you can imagine. Anyway, I've hyped this up enough. Let's check out the trailer to My Son Hunter. My first time watching this. Here we go. You know, I'm even going to change the title so we know how serious this is. And once again, one more call to action. Actually, two more. Follow the channel if you haven't already. Press the follow button, and join the Discord server. Okay? I know. I'm in a bunch of Discord servers. Well, guess what? You want to be in this one too. It's the best Discord server around. It's a wonderful community. And I encourage you to please join the Discord server if you're just joining us today. Okay, I'm going to put a whole title just so we're doing this properly. Anyway, here we go. Here it is.
So I'll tell you what's going down.
You know who I am.
They told me you were VIP. Well connected to the government.
What kind of a moron forgets to pick up his laptop at a repair shop? You're a Biden. Act like one. Everything he built, his life, I just ruined it all.
That line, "You're a Biden, act like one," that's directly lifted from Oliver Stone's W movie.
Act like one. Everything he built, his life, I just ruined it all. I want to know everything that's on that laptop that can ruin my erection. My friends, it's time to party!
Didn't you know I'm taking control? I'm making appearance and I gotta go, cause I get them dancing with their hands up. Yeah, I walk in and they go bananas. I'm a bad, yeah.
I'm an artist.
And they're cheering my
Tell me how I can help you.
I don't deserve help. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I've been through worse.
You're the smartest man I know. Thanks, Dad. I just wish I could smack some sense into you. I'll never forget Corey, Bob. He was a bad dude. No joke. Dad, we were talking about suffering. No.
I can't seem to find anything but positive stuff on the Bidens.
Who's the point man for the foreign policy in the Obama regime?
Joe Biden. So it looks like you need $1 billion.
So the obvious next question is,
Where's Hunter? I can remember getting paid some money, but I can't remember what for. Well, my dad says we never discuss my businesses, period. Or my cut.
what's happening in there? Joe's in on it.
Party's over!
You had everything, Hunter, and you threw it all away. You hope the laptop will take down everybody with you.
Get out! China's not our enemy. They're not bad folks.
That's right.
I love my dad, and I just want to make him proud. I am the one who brings in all the deals. I am the one. Good boy.
Wow. Wow.
Who brings in all the deals? I am the one.
Wow. What are your impressions on that? I gotta say, folks. This is my initial impression. This looks absolutely sick. My excitement level for this movie just like is going off the charts right now. This looks phenomenal. This is definitely going to be a movie night. And seriously, get in the Discord server. Get in the Discord server now, because we will be doing a community watch of the film My Son Hunter at the earliest possible convenience. Okay, so get in there. I don't know. I mean, it's like, when does it drop? I don't know. I don't want to take this image off the screen yet. I think pretty soon. Pretty soon. Even semi-accurate movies about American corruption are rare these days. This is always the funny thing about Hunter and the laptop and all this stuff, is the way that it gets, and obviously like the people on the right in America are completely unhinged, but the way that like elite liberal circles like in the media and in politics kind of like circled the wagons around this and suggested that like anything about the laptop that came out, anything about Hunter or Joe being corrupt in any way was automatically like out of bounds, fake news, Russian disinformation. And like, as I've been saying many times, like that is you don't have to agree with people on the right in the United States, but when the vice president oversees the overthrow of a government in Ukraine, and then a couple years later their dipshit fuck up son gets this high-powered executive position for like a Ukrainian gas company in a field in which he has no experience and knows nothing about, that is very much corruption. It absolutely is. And the idea that it's like if you agree with that, that's like right. That's like a right-wing belief. Of course it is. Of course that's corruption. Thank you very much, Red Scary, for the gifted sub to Waldo. Of course that's fucking corruption, and all the stuff about like I don't know what's on that laptop or whatever, but the way that the press and Facebook, Twitter, and these social media companies, when that story was coming out and when all that stuff was being revealed, they literally all just came together at the behest of the DNC and the Democratic Party and were like, no, we're not going to allow this stuff to disseminate on our platform because it's Russian propaganda or whatever. And as we're seeing, as we've come out now, all that, it was not Russian propaganda at all. That was all very real. And so it's like when you have these right-wing weirdos that have this idea about how the liberals have this sort of like grip on social media and legacy media, and that it has this kind of liberal bent, that gives fuel to that fire, because that was actually a case where that was exactly correct. Yeah, firing the prosecutor in Ukraine was legit fucked up. Like there's a legitimate. And again, you don't need to agree with the Fox News version of it or the My Son Hunter version of it. There's a legitimate story there, and there always has been, about Biden, Hunter, Ukraine, and all this stuff. And it's literally just like, it's just been, it was framed when it was coming out as being pure.
You can count on me.
Pure
good
Putin
old
propaganda
to talk you through all this.
Yeah, that no-show $60K a month job was clearly invented by Comrade Putin. Exactly.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
The friendship triangle saved my life.
Thank you so much, Comrade Social Distancing, for the 3 gifted subs. Very, very kind of you, and all for all the support, Comrade Social Distancing.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
And thank you, Jamo, as well, for the 19 months of Tier 1, the friendship triangle to save my life. I'm happy to hear that, Jameson. Even though I'm Canadian, you still listen to me about some of the stuff, even though I'm Canadian. That's how generous of you. Thank you, Jamo. I really appreciate that. And thank you, Baizu, as well, for the 400 friend coin. Very kind of you. Thank you. Makes even so much more sense with the Biden's history in the balkanization of the USSR, and more specifically the attempts to distance Ukraine from Russia in the 90s. Like, absolutely. Like, Ukraine is one of the most corrupt countries in Europe. And the United States and Joe Biden in particular have played a large role in separating it from Russia, from collapsing socialism undemocratically in Ukraine and elsewhere, and encouraging this kind of rampant corruption, encouraging the total privatization of the economy, which is going on. It's exponentially increasing now that the war is going on, and they're using the war to impose all these like shock doctrine, neoliberal economic reforms on Ukraine right now, and it's still going on. Yeah, and Ukraine was Biden's baby under Obama too. I mean, it's like he's deeply implicated in everything that has been going on over the last couple of decades, and especially over the last few years. And the war kicked off under his watch as well. And Biden, more than just as much as anyone, has contributed to the expansion of NATO, funding these right-wing groups, these right-wing militia groups in Ukraine. Biden has done just as much as anyone to provoke this whole conflict in the first place. The projection that everyone hates Russians, so Ukrainians therefore also hate Russians, is so insane considering the shared history of the peoples. Well, and that's when you get into the sort of Chrystia Freeland effect, right? This tendency to want to create this right-wing Ukrainian nationalism, and to rewrite all that shared history, and to promote this kind of like fascistic double genocide theory. And there's many people in Ukraine that don't belong to that history, that don't agree with that history. Many people in Ukraine that are ethnically Russian, and none of their views are ever represented, right? Whenever we talk about any of this stuff, none of the ethnic Russians that have lived in Ukraine for generations, who themselves have been getting persecuted for the last 10 years or more by the government that was put in place by the United States and by Western imperialism. But we don't want to hear from them, right? We only want to hear from certain Ukrainians about this. But just as we want to hear from certain Chinese people, we want to hear from certain Taiwanese people, we want to hear from certain Koreans, but the people that don't spout that exact same narrative that is beneficial to us and beneficial to the United States and Canada and Western imperialism, we don't want to hear anything about it. We're just like, no, shut up. Shh, shut up. Yeah, exactly. Outrun the VJ thing. Let's hear from an Indian. We'll get Modi on there. Gorgeous segue. You like that, Sincho? I thought you would like that. Rob, need you to go ahead and show your bank account on stream. I do not believe you're in fact getting checks rolling in from the Kremlin. It would be sick if I was. Believe me, I wouldn't be debasing myself every day on Twitch, doing weird dances and like trying to guilt trip people into subscribing to this channel. If I was getting Kremlin funding, I would be much more chill about all that stuff. Anyway, we can pivot to the Chrystia Freeland thing now, because this is what's been going on all weekend in Canadian news. It's sad to see you compromise your morals like this. I know. Rob isn't Kremlin sponsored because he's not wearing a new Shanka. I should get a new Shanka though. I should get one. Rob's work isn't paid, but the Kremlin does pick up the salary of the actor who plays Little Rob. Yeah. Anyway, this My Son Hunter looks incredibly good. I'm really looking forward to watching it, and I encourage everyone to join. Once again, final call to action on this. I encourage everyone to join the Discord server, which you can do by clicking the link in the chat, which someone is posting right at this very moment. I would encourage people to click on that link, join the Discord server, and we will watch My Son Hunter in the Discord server at the earliest possible opportunity. The Ukraine war really fucked up so many libs' brains. My dad used to be an USSR, saved Europe, and we owe a debt to the Red Army guy to every bad news that comes out of Ukraine is Russian propaganda. Freeland's granddad was not a collaborator. The weapons are being tracked and not lost. The labor law revocations are for war economies. Holodomor. When I asked him, why is everything bad Russian propaganda, he just said Russians are sneaky and we should not trust them. That's just grim. Zach, that's fucking grim. Our parents need to be better about this shit, you know? Did you ever think, we have to ask our parents sometimes, do you ever think that like relentless Red Scare, anti-Russian propaganda that you experienced from cradle to grave maybe had some kind of an impact on your thinking on this? I wonder if that has anything to do with it. The nonstop relentless propaganda campaign that you grew up under about this. Perhaps that impacted your thinking on these subjects. I don't know. I can't tell you how many young people who are like 30s and under who are Russian until a year ago and now say they're Ukrainian. It's weird, man. And even like, you know, questioning what to say about this. I mean, even a couple weeks ago, Jordan and I on our podcast talked to Jack Crosby, who's I think is a really good journalist who has spent time in Ukraine. And I enjoyed getting his perspective on this as someone that's actually spent time in these regions. I must admit, nothing against Jack, who I think is a great dude, but I thought he did kind of downplay the role of what the United States and what NATO has done. I think he downplayed the idea that like there's people in the US government that did want this conflict. He kind of suggested that was not accurate, and that's just not really something that I agree with. I think at least with someone like Jack that has a more nuanced opinion on these things, and I think is like has a better take on a lot of it and a better read on it than a lot of like just liberals that have gone fully like off the deep end on this stuff. But you also realize too, like even if you're going to Ukraine, you have a very specific perspective that's being presented. If you're talking to certain individuals, you know, you're gonna have a certain viewpoint on it. And you know, it's like I talked about the other day, because I mentioned in that interview, you know, the idea of the civil war that's been going on over the last 10 years in the Donbass region. And I talked about these sort of militant groups and things like that because I wanted to hear what his response was to it. And again, like it's not just him, but I do think there's this tendency to just talk about the sort of Donbass civil war and just say, well, they're Russian backed. So, you know, and just kind of hand wave away everything that's happened. But like, I think it's really important to focus on the fact that like there's people in that region that have been bombarded and shelled and terrorized by the Ukrainian military using weapons that are sold to them by the United States and by Canada that are not just like, you can't just say they're Russian backed militants and just say, well, so they don't count. There's literally like there's old people, civilians, kids, they're not just these Russian-backed boogeymen. They're actual human beings that have been fucking terrorized over the last 10 years. And we've contributed to that. And, you know, that's always been my position on this. Not to hand wave away anything that Russia does or suggest that it's justified, because I don't think war is ever justified. But since I live in the West, I live in Canada, and Canada's played a role in provoking this, I'm going to keep my focus there. And not just like any information that kind of like goes outside of that. You just say, well, Russia bad. So, you know, I don't think that's a really helpful analysis. When you mention the referendums, they call it a Kremlin talking point. Yeah, that's the thing. I think Crimea came up on this thing about the annexation of Crimea. And it's like, we've talked about that before, but it's like, there's people there as well that don't want to be part of Ukraine, you know, and they didn't then. There's a reason why this annexation of Crimea was like almost 100% bloodless. Right? Anyway, I don't want to talk shit about a podcast guest. Because again, I think I like Jack a lot. I think he's a great guy. But there was a couple times in that interview with I'm from the, when it comes to this Ukraine thing, I'm in the Roger Waters camp. You know, that's the reality. And I was happy to get his perspective, definitely, as someone that's been there and has spent time like talking with people that have been affected by this. But I'm always going to focus on the role that the West has played in contributing to this and provoking it. Okay, well, never is a strong word, Sinchel. Never is a strong word. Never justified. But, it's like inevitably horrible things happen in wars. And it's like you can't, it makes me pretty uncomfortable to just for the people that are just like 100%, I'm totally okay with this and it's great and it's good and we should support it. Inevitably when you take that position, you're supporting some pretty nasty shit as well. Yeah, self-determination for extreme minorities in official enemy countries, but nobody else. Or like self-determination for groups that we've specifically engaged in nation-building projects to create these dissidents, which is true of both Ukraine and Taiwan. Like we've contributed to these like nationalist myths. We've helped create these kind of movements, these independence movements, these nationalist movements. And then lo and behold, when these people that we've kind of encouraged and fostered and supported want self-determination, then you say, well, we got to support the right for self-determination while completely ignoring the role we've been engaging in this kind of nation building project, which has been a very specific ideological goal that we've contributed to, Anyway, it's a good way to transition into Chrystia Freeland. I haven't watched this clip either. This really had Canadian media was really up in arms about this over the course of this weekend. Seth Harp talking about it makes clear that Western reporters are kept in the dark. They have pre-approved parameters that they can't stray away from while fact-finding. That's kind of the impression that I got about
You're gonna
this.
have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
2 months, let's go. Audit the fucking Pentagon.
Like it seemed clear to me that people that have done Westerners that have done war reporting, they're there. They've got a handler that's showing them the things that they want to show them and they're talking to the people that they want them talking to. You're not going to be supported if you're expressing a viewpoint that runs contrary to anything that they're working on over there. Slam Funkadunk. Look at that. 2 months of tier 1 from Slam Funkadunk. Great username. Thank you very much, Slam Funkadunk. I appreciate that. Anyway, here's the Chrystia Freeland thing. So listen, I haven't looked at this clip. Here's how I characterized it on Twitter just from that's not how I characterized it. That's not true. Here's how I characterized it on Twitter just because I was looking at the way that people were reacting to it. So we'll see if this is fair or not. I didn't look at the clip previously. I said liberals are obsessing over the video of Chrystia Freeland being mildly inconvenienced, like it's the goddamn Zapruder film. And, again, I didn't look at the clip. I don't know how bad it is. I don't know how bad this thing is. There was one really weird comment, like one of the quote tweets about this, which I thought was, again, a little over the line, if you ask me. Where I posted in the Disney, this is what someone said about this. Imagine being a woman in this guy's life when he engages in similarly verbally abusive and physically intimidating behavior toward them as he condoned below. Get out now. And I don't think that's entirely fair. I don't think that's entirely fair. First of all, none of the women in my life have ever been involved in, promoting arms shipments or training to Nazi groups, to my knowledge. I don't believe so. None of the women in my life are like powerful political figures that are like overseeing this surplus while everyone else in the country is struggling to get by. You know, none of the women in my life are like that, so I don't think that's totally fair. I think it's a bit of a reach. Let me see if I just search Freeland here. Where's the clip? People across Canada are horrified by the scenes of a brutal verbal attack on Chrystia Freeland.
The incident happened on Friday when Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland was visiting the City Hall in Grande Prairie, Alberta. A man called her name.
Chrystia, yes. What the f*** you doing in Alberta? You traitor. Get the f*** out of this province. You don't belong here.
He unloaded a verbal assault of insults, F-bombs, and worse. Freeland and her aides got away. The man was escorted out of the City Hall, still shouting.
That's what it was?
On Twitter afterwards, Freeland...
Okay, listen. The F-bombs, that's right. You know, like we were talking about before, I'm sure that this guy is some like reactionary QAnon weirdo and freak. Yeah, the words assault and violent here really bugs me. I think so too. You know, like just yelling at a politician in an elevator. Again, I'm sure that this is some dipshit that I don't like in terms of their political beliefs. I'm sure none of the reasons that I think are legitimate reasons to yell at Chrystia Freeland, of which there are many, are the reasons that this gentleman is saying these things. He probably thinks that she's part of some like communist globalist cabal or whatever, which I don't agree with. I don't know, like if he's the F-bombs or whatever, I don't know if he was using like gendered language. It was all bleeped out, so it's hard to hear what it is, which I don't support, even if though I do think you should be able to yell at Chrystia Freeland or whoever else for a variety of reasons. I'm not going to condone any gendered language about this. I think framing it as like an assault or something, I think that's maybe a little bit much, you know? I think that's maybe a little bit much. People are saying he's like it's like literally just going up and yelling for 5 seconds at someone in an elevator who they then just left immediately afterwards. Yeah, he wants to stop the communists, doesn't realize that Freeland is totally on board with that. Yeah, exactly. She actually 100% agrees with that ideologically. How much did George Soros pay her to be in Alberta? It's probably what it is, right? Even though, like with all those guys, Soros as well is someone that they should agree with as well. Soros is the one that, you know, like we've said, they call Soros some kind of communist when he's literally someone who profited immensely from his own personal power and wealth from the collapse of the Soviet Union. That's the whole reason that he's a billionaire in the first place. And he's neck deep in all the kind of nation building color revolution stuff in Ukraine and elsewhere with the Open Societies Foundation. Also deeply involved now in like policing online communities for Russian disinformation. You know? And the man killed me. I think framing this like it's some fucking egregious assault is a little bit
said
silly.
Nobody anywhere should have to put up with threats and intimidation. Although she said the harassment doesn't reflect the people of Alberta. In Ottawa, the Prime Minister was speaking out for her.
Threats, violence, intimidation of any kind are always unacceptable. And this kind of cowardly behavior threatens and undermines our democracy.
He's got a serious face. Look at him. Yeah, we can take a look at Nora's thread on this next, because Nora has a tendency to speak up on these things when everyone's going to get tuned to get maximum mad, and does it anyways, which I appreciate. But yeah, the threats, and it's literally just a fucking chud yelling at her and pointing at her for 5 seconds and saying F-bombs. What if this is a false flag? Am I allowed to engage in Canadian politics? No, you're not, Matt. No, you're not. This is for Canadians only to comment on. Violence like a war, for example? Yeah. Castro's genes shining through. No way a white man looks so handsome unless their name is Rob. Thank you, Karam. I appreciate that. You had me in the end there. He's probably all Botoxed up. I don't know if I believe the Castro allegations. I remember when they threw rocks at him. Yeah, and it's like, again, it's the same people. It's the same fucking weird reactionary lunatics. I don't agree with those people, but like, I think politicians, especially who are overseeing such fucking this like ongoing decline and collapse, should get yelled at. They should get yelled at in public, especially politicians like Chrystia Freeland, who are like deliberately trying to start World War III at the behest of their Nazi grandfather, that they've spoken many times about how he's this wonderful, inspiring figure that she agrees with and supports his life work. Frankly, I think people like that should be yelled at and sworn at. And I don't think she was ever in danger in any way. I think treating this like it's some kind of egregious assault is a little bit fucking over the top. We should be bullying these people. Yes, we should. And like I said before, I'm sure I don't agree with the guy doing it about anything. He's for sure, he's some guy that's brain has been melted by like Canada Proud, QAnon Facebook groups or whatever.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Hi Rob. Hi chat. Don't forget to join the Fantasy Basketball League.
Thank you, Squatch. Thank you for the 17 months resub at tier 2 and for all the support you've shown the channel, Squatch. And I won't forget. I will join the Fantasy League. Salutations, fellow Ukrainian Gustanos. And what the fuck is a brutal verbal attack? I mean, that's the question. And listen, I think this man maybe used the B word. And listen, I don't support that. I think if you're a woman and you want to call Chrystia Freeland the B word, that's within your rights. I don't support this man saying that. I think that's maybe you can yell at Chrystia Freeland without using that language. I still don't think this is like some dangerous assault the way that it's being framed in the media. You know? Oh yeah, Sinchel, don't worry. I would agree with your right to do that. Okay? I wouldn't do the same thing, but I would agree with your right to do that. As a woman, I try not to use gendered insults, but sometimes someone really needs to be called one. Yeah, if you're going to use the B word with Chrystia Freeland, you should use the correct B word, Banderite. That's right, Leash, that's correct. I think there was a finger. It was pointed. That's dangerous. That you remember when Bernie was doing that, he likes to point. She was pointed at very aggressively in an elevator. Oh no. Oh my goodness. I certainly hope she's okay. I certainly hope she's recovered from this. Let's hear whatever all the other people that have weighed in. This is the title of this clip. People across Canada are horrified by the scenes of a brutal verbal attack on Chrystia Freeland. Oh my gosh. Are you fucking kidding me? I'll reserve judgment until we hear from the body language experts. Thank you. Thank you. Is goof one of the words bleeped? I don't know. I haven't heard the uncensored version. Reminds me of the time I booed Stephen Harper at a Winnipeg Jets game and my friend got pissed at me and said, "That's the Prime Minister. Show some respect." You don't understand. What if his finger was actually a gun? Yeah, we can't have that. Wouldn't want anything bad to happen to any of these fine folks. Horrified. Across the country, horrified by this brutal verbal attack. I mean, it's a question of like who gets this kind of coverage as well, right? You know, we have, because of the extremely racist climate in this country, we've got indigenous people constantly being the victims of not just verbal attacks, but real attacks. We've got Muslim families being verbally attacked and attacked physically and murdered in some cases. But when a powerful white Ukrainian gusano politician gets yelled at for 5 seconds in an elevator, we've got to have a whole weekend of discourse about it. We've got to have a whole weekend about this brutal assault that took place. You know? Where people that are like put in this kind of like position constantly because of the policies of this ruling class that Chrystia Freeland represents, the policies that they promote. They don't get that same level of like care and attention from people. I need to lie down just having seen this. I know it's very upset. I should have had a trigger warning about before this. It's very, very scary. This kind, and that's a good point. Moksakino. This kind of civility politics is mainly class war. Don't disrespect those of a higher class. That's ultimately what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. How do I get into fantasy basketball? I would encourage everyone that wants to get into fantasy basketball to whisper or DM community member Squatch Drew about this. And I know he wants to hear from you. I know he wants to hear from everybody. I don't know if there's space in it, but I would, if you want to, I would reach out to him. Or you can do so in the sports channel of the Discord or wherever. I don't know. Keep your fainting couch nearby when I'm watching this vid. I know. If you've got pearls, make sure you can clutch those. Have your smelling salts as well. When you faint, someone can revive you with the smelling salts. Let's see who else is horrified by this verbal attack. Like, look at the level of seriousness, though, like from our fucking prime minister and from our media class talking about this. Some guy being like, "Hey, fucking get out of here, fuck you, ah," for literally 5 seconds, and pointing at her in an elevator. Look at how this gets treated in our media. Like it's a little bit much. I'm sorry.
And our values of openness and respect upon which Canada was
I
built.
don't respect Chrystia Freeland.
Trudeau
I don't.
was the victim of a stone-throwing attack during last year's election campaign.
And even this we just saw the stone-throwing attack. It's literally someone whipped like a handful of fucking gravel at the guy. Like let's describe what actually happened. Someone whipped some gravel at the prime minister. Oh my God, is he okay? Is he going to be all right? Oh my gosh, that's so terrifying. Yeah, invading indigenous land for pipelines doesn't get near this amount of pearl clutching. Of course not. No, and you know what did get this amount of pearl clutching? When indigenous people blockaded our railway system. That led to a lot of pearl clutching. Not so much when like armed RCMP officers bust up these blockades and go into these communities and assault women and kids and indigenous people. Is Freeland a lib or a conservative? She's a fascist liberal. She's basically the deputy. She's the deputy prime minister, and she is a fascist liberal. And her grandfather, Michael Chomiak, was actually a fascist sympathizer living in wartime Poland. Took over the newspaper office of a displaced Jewish newspaper owner. Took over the newspaper and became like a fascist propagandist in Poland. Promoting all the same reactionary Ukrainian nationalism stuff, Bandera and all this stuff that we're still now hearing about today, which has been a central building block of this whole Ukrainian war in the first place. This is Chrystia Freeland literally is carrying on her fascist grandfather's life work currently. She's got a resume. That's respectable. That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
He says these behaviors are getting worse, particularly against women and minorities, and Canada's leaders have to take a stand.
Again, I mentioned the Zapruder film, and they're literally doing that. Slow motion. Oh my God.
Says these
this is so
behaviors
scary.
Are getting worse, particularly against women and minorities, and Canada's leaders have to take a stand.
We have to ask ourselves what kind of country we are, what kind of country we want to be.
St. Catharines City Councillor Carrie Porter saw violence firsthand last winter when someone threw a rock through the window of her home.
Sometimes these things don't sink in till several days or several weeks later. That's when
those
it
are pebbles.
Starts to sink in.
She says she's seen an increase in incivility, particularly against women, following Donald Trump's example in the U.S. and growing inequality.
But people manipulate and use people's legitimate anger with the system to their own end.
Political commentator Keith Leslie says the Alberta video shows no attempt to establish a dialogue by someone emboldened by online conspiracy theorists.
He didn't even try to debate her. He's not being civil. He's not trying to have a dialogue Can you believe this? You believe this guy? I would simply debate the deputy prime minister about his weird QAnon reactionary bullshit that he believes in. Yes, civility, Canada's greatest resource, of course. Of course. Ma'am, I'm attempting to have a dialogue with you. And yeah, it is true. It's like asking what kind of country people want to have in this place is a dangerous game. Like Pathogen was saying. Asking what kind of country Canada is. Because there's a lot of people that actually want Canada to be significantly more fascist than it already is. And including probably this guy, frankly. Every Canadian gets a pearl. This is one of our biggest social programs. Every Canadian gets a pearl necklace for them to clutch in these moments when someone is not civil. Mr. Freeland, ma'am, do you hear me? Do you see me? If you'd only ask that.
Saddest of all, I thought, was how proud this guy was of himself when he got out to the parking lot. We showed her. You just showed the world what a bully you are, and that you're just really, really angry.
We're not
even quite sure why, but you're calling the deputy prime minister, a traitor in her own city hall in Canada. What did she really do that makes her a traitor? Have you lost your freedoms? You seem to be free to be able to speak your mind at her. And that you're.
He's bullying. He's bullying the deputy prime minister of the country. He's bullying. We're bullying them. Who is this Dick Van Dyke looking at that for? What freedoms have you lost is a fair question. Yeah, and of course, Jay, like if you dug into any of this guy's political beliefs, of course they're completely incoherent and don't make sense in any way. Obviously, and they're based in weird reactionary conspiracy theory nonsense. Absolutely. They should have simply had a beer summit. That's right. They should have simply had a little beer summit. Christia Blood and Soil Freeland, champion of freedoms. And someone, I believe, posted right under timely. Yes, this person, Savage Goon. I don't know if Savage Goon is in the chat right now. This is the most telling thing about Christia Freeland, her grandfather, their life's work, and everything that Canada has engaged in following World War II, and especially since the Christia Freeland's been on the scene, this like right-wing nation-building project. Read this. This is from Michael Ignatieff's book. And try to wrap your mind around how fucking fascist this is. So this is from Michael Ignatieff's book from before Freeland was a known political figure. It says, at the Apollon, I met Christia Freeland, who writes for the Financial Times and The Economist in Kiev. She's a Canadian Ukrainian from a farming family in the Peace River country of northern Alberta. Is that all her family did? I think there's more to her family than that, but okay. One of the thousands of those second-generation Ukrainian Canadians who were raised to dream about an independent Ukraine by their exiled parents and now have come back to live and work in the reality of independence. This is so fucked up. It is common, she says, for Canadian Ukrainians to think of themselves as the true Ukrainians, the ones who kept the faith, while among the actual Ukrainians, the compulsion and fatalism of the communist system was working its way into their bones. The Ukrainian Canadians return home, expecting a fervently nationalist and religious people, and find instead phlegmatic, ironic, sober, and fatalistic Soviet souls. Independence requires a new human type, but, she says, with an equal measure of affection and irritation, it will be a long time coming. And now we're seeing the results of this, the decades of hard work that the Freeland family, the humble farming Freeland family, which has no connection whatsoever to anything else that we want to talk about.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I gotta go. Have a great stream, TRRS Mushrob.
We're seeing the kind of that long project of decades and decades of building up this Ukrainian nationalism. We're seeing come to fruition right now. Thank you very much, Zach. Thank you for the 18 months resub at tier 3. Zach, I appreciate it a lot. Thank you. Her name being Freeland, especially, I think is amazing. For a part of a right-wing project to bring fascist Ukrainians to this country to engage in this process of settler colonialism, and specifically to disrupt the socialist Ukrainian diaspora that exists in this country at that time, specifically what these scores of humble second-generation Ukrainians were coming to this country for. Yeah, free land, Timbit McLebensbrom. Yeah, exactly. It's pretty on the nose, isn't it? It's pretty on the nose. It's pretty on the nose, folks. So I don't know. Forgive me for not thinking that the vicious assault on Chrystia Freeland is something that we should stop the presses for an entire fucking weekend and clutch our pearls over. I think she's okay. I think she'll be fine. She got yelled at in an elevator one time. I think she's going to be okay. Personally, I support it. Obviously, I would never agree with that, Johnny, but I do appreciate your contributions to the marketplace of ideas and the free speech that we have on this channel. So, of course, I would never say anything about it, but I might just take a short little break, okay? I'm going to stick around for another hour, a little over an hour. So I'm just going to take a short 5-minute break, okay? I'll come back in 5 minutes. Has she commented on the current situation in Ukraine recently? She did on Ukrainian Independence Day. She was like, Slava Ukraini and Slava Canada, or whatever. So now she's bringing the fascist Ukraine call to action and bringing that to Canada as well. She'll never recover. Being one of the most powerful people in Canada is no comfort when this type of violence occurs. Absolutely. Being bullied by some fucking weird QAnon guy when you're the deputy prime minister of a country. Yeah, you might as well just say Heil Canada. That would even be more on the nose. People across Canada are horrified by the scenes of a brutal verbal attack. Oh my God. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Okay, so let me just take a short, 5-minute break or so. I'll be really quick. I'm going to do that. I'll be back in a few moments, all right? Okay, talk to you soon. Hey. Okay. That's all. That's all for the break. I don't know what we're doing now, though. What's up, Brandon? I already kind of exhausted all the things that I meant to talk about today. I had a little bit of a beef update. We did My Son Hunter. We talked about Chrystia Freeland. I didn't really have anything else on the docket. The beef update. There we go. I always, as you all know, folks, I do try to avoid the beef. Sometimes it doesn't avoid me. Sometimes against my own efforts to be a cool and chill guy, I get drawn into beefs with people, and then I have to talk about it. Did you see Eminem and Snoop stooging for NFTs at the VMAs last night? I did see that. Yeah, that seemed like kind of depressing to look at. I saw Johnny Depp was there as well. So it seems like it was a really worthwhile endeavor to watch. Speaking of beef, I had a delicious sandwich I made for lunch. That sounds great. You know what I don't think I've ever had? One of those like Italian beef sandwiches with the dip. You do the dip. I don't think I've ever had that, and it seems really appealing to me. Sometimes the hot beef just shows up at your door and you go, what are you going to do? That's right. You're just going to deny it? Are you going to deny the beef? The French dip. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Get you to Chicago? I do need to come to Chicago for a number of reasons. including the Italian beef sandwiches. I'll make my way there eventually. I want to be on that au jus lifestyle. That's right, Husker. I will make it to Chicago eventually. I will make my way to Chicago eventually. Have you seen The Bear? No, I have not. I have not. It seems I kind of want to watch it. I haven't gotten around to it yet. I've been watching MASH. A Chicago chief. I don't know if that's supposed to mean beef or chief. With green peppers and melted Mott's cheese. That sounds wonderful. That sounds really good. Cheese plus beef equals chief. There we go. Learn something new every day. The Bear is really just the modern MASH, if you think about it. As someone who works in a busy and sometimes stressful restaurant, I will not watch The Bear. I understand. It seems triggering for people that have really spent a lot of time in that industry. I did work in a restaurant once. I was a busboy, but I don't think I experienced the really stressful part of the lifestyle. At Chu Chai in Montreal. It was an amazing vegan Thai restaurant in Montreal was where I was a busboy. But I didn't get triggered by it in the same way. By the way, Squatch, big shout out to Squatch Drew, whose gourmet pizza cooking skills have now been featured in both a Netflix TV series and from comedian and food influencer Eric of Tim and Eric. Big shout out to Squatch Drew for his cooking skills being acknowledged. It's like he's like the Roman Reigns. Squatch Drew is like the Roman Reigns of the Pizza Chef community, acknowledge me. Acknowledge me. And he's being acknowledged. And I agree with that. Roman Reigns, the guy with the wettest hair. Very handsome man, that Roman Reigns. There's no getting around that. For all the controversy that Roman Reigns caused with his big like push before I think like people had really ready to accept him, I do recall the moment that I first watched Roman Reigns emerge from the curtain on NXT. He was only on NXT. He was only on like 2 episodes of NXT before he got called up. But that was one guy that as soon as I saw him, he walked out of the curtain and I was just like, well, that guy's going to be a massive superstar. Like, there's no way. Just like, look at that guy. Of course he's going to be. Should we watch the Weird Al trailer? I already watched it, but I did quite enjoy it. I enjoyed it quite a lot. I think it looks good. Daniel Radcliffe as well. Like, it is, I feel like it's so difficult to become such a big child star and then to like, and again, we're not speaking too soon if Daniel Radcliffe eventually gets canceled for something. But to go from that level of like child stardom to transition into like doing interesting projects as an actor later and also seeming like kind of normal and chill, I think that's like such a rare case for anyone that works in this industry. So big respect to Daniel Radcliffe for that. Yeah, Elijah Wood. Yeah, he's definitely avoided being typecast. Absolutely. Let's see this. And I saw people drawing comparisons to, what's the movie with John O'Reilly, Walk Hard, and saying like, well, if you're going to like make fun of doing a parody of the music biopic, you know, Walk Hard already did it, so you just shouldn't even bother. But I don't know. I saw this trailer and I think it's really like, it looks pretty good. And it looks like a very fun performance by Radcliffe. Yeah, and he played a flatulent corpse once in Swiss Army Man. He can do anything. I really enjoyed that movie, actually. Really good soundtrack. Really good score to Swiss Army Man. Just a bizarre and kind of weird and fun movie. Awesome score, though. Anyway, let's see this. Let's watch this.
Put it in.
It looks great.
I'm tired of people thinking I'm some kind of joke.
Your dad and I agreed it would be best if you just stop being who you are and doing the things you love.
My whole life, all I wanted.
I'm afraid we found your son at a polka party.
Just to make up new words to a song that already exists.
Oh, well, you should do that then.
This is funny to me because in our conversations about Weird Al, the one time that this community tried to cancel me was when I talked about Weird Al and who I love, a person who was like a formative figure for me as both a comedian and a musician. But I kind of said, like, let's be honest, like a lot of Weird Al's act is just taking songs and making it about food. Like, let's just be honest with ourselves about that. And the community tried to cancel me. But I thought this was such a funny scene in the trailer that references that exact phenomenon.
Ooh, my little hungry one, open up a package of my bologna.
Dude, I've got chills.
Every once in a great while, I can spot a talent.
Don't do this,
that I
Lorraine.
know is the future of music.
Listen, if you have a margarita, there's salt around the rim and there's fruit, lime in the margarita, which has sugar in it. Sugar and salt. It makes perfect sense.
But first, we gotta find you a stage name. Al Yankovic. It's long, it's hard to pronounce. So I'm just gonna throw this out there. Weird Al Yankovic. I love it.
has taken the world by storm.
Do I know you?
Madonna, I was wondering if you were going to do a parody of my song, Like a Virgin.
I'm curious, is that song autobiographical?
Yes. Except for the fact that I've had a lot of sex.
Name me one creative genius that doesn't have a checkered past involving alcohol,
That's the medicine.
and drugs.
I think Madonna's a bad influence on you. What? No offense.
I'm a train wreck. My parents wrote me off. I pushed away my band.
You're all just a bunch of normals. I'm the weird one.
You gotta take care of yourself.
Slag off.
I saw in you something special. An artist with something to give to the world.
In front of all the billions of people watching around the world right now, all I want to say is be as weird as you want to be. You will never find true happiness until you can truly accept who you are. Thank you.
Al Yankovic taught me it was okay to be
Al,
weird.
You can't smoke in here. I totally deserve that.
That's a great face. I don't know if Al is that jacked. I'm not sure. I don't know about that. Real loud there at the end.
I totally deserve that.
Oh, it was the I see. It was like the CEO there. I see. I didn't recognize him with the wig. Yeah. Okay. Now I see. Now I see him. He is looking good. Rob is on record as a Weird Al hater. Not true. Not true. Not at all. Not at all a Weird Al hater. Huge influence for me. Huge. I mean, when I was like probably 11, 12, like that was the music that I listened to. I listened to Weird Al. I listened to the Jurassic Park album. That got a lot of play. I believe I had one of the greatest hits albums, actually. If he's such an influence, why do you disrespect him so regularly? I don't know if that's an accurate portrayal of what I do on this channel. And when I talk about Al Yankovic, I don't know if that's an accurate portrayal, frankly. I don't. Big fan of Al. Name 30 songs. Well, frankly, you could name all the songs that are about food, of which they're like, that's the most of his catalog. I can name 2 Weird Al originals right off the top of my head. Frank's 2000-inch TV, #1, and he did a Christmas track called Christmas at Ground Zero about a nuclear holocaust happening on Christmas. He's got some underrated original recordings on those albums. Rob said, and I quote, Weird Al only sings about food and can only be appreciated by the mind of a child. I don't think that that's correct. I don't think that that's accurate. I'm sorry. Yeah, Everything You Know Is Wrong. It's a good one, Bond. I could still sing the chorus to that song. That's a hallmark of a well-written pop song. I still remember the chorus to that. I'm not going to sing it now, of course, but... Ryer the Kaiser is his best work. Yeah. Yeah, no, I know. It's like a lot of songs like that where, you know, it's a popular song and he just makes it about food. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's nothing wrong with doing 2 popular Michael Jackson parodies that are it's about eating food and being overweight. There's nothing wrong with that. And I absolutely respect it. Whenever I drink out of this thing, I spill water on myself. Now I've got self-conscious because I got to water with this. I'm about to mute the stream again. Reek of disrespect right now. Jesus, I got to move on from this. I do think the movie looks great, though. It looks great, and I think Radcliffe looks very funny in it. Stick to Canadian musician. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. So I don't know what we're doing now, gang. Is there anything else we need to be talking about? I'm gonna be here again another hour or so. That shirt doesn't look clean. It's clean. I just spilled a drip of water on it. That's all. It's freshly out of the drawer, freshly washed. And King Ueno says, Rob, how puffton do you eat food? I'm not familiar with what that word is, but okay. Every day, multiple times a day. Interesting. But Weird Al isn't allowed to sing about food a handful of times over decades. Jesus. Puffton. Rob sewing. I like and eat food. Rob reaping. No, don't eat food like me. I saw him live a few years ago. He wanted to show off his newly learned guitar skills, which involved playing one chord from a Neil Young song over and over again. What was the chord? Was it a good chord at least? There's a great E minor in Heart of Gold. E minor is a great chord. Any idea what's happening in Iraq? Did they have their Kabul Saigon moment? I know, like, I saw that American diplomats are getting chased out of the country. I don't know much about like how these protests started, though. But that's something that we should definitely spend some time on. Let's spend some time talking about this week, and I'm sure Breakthrough News will have something good on that we can engage with. Yeah, there's big protests kicking off. They're storming the presidential palace. They're kicking out American diplomats. Which, regardless of who's doing it, is gonna be something that I encourage. Yeah, that's definitely something that we should be taking a more in-depth look at. Our go-to Iraqi Boogaloo. Oh, and yesterday was apparently the anniversary of what racist liberals refer to as Obama's only scandal. Of course, the tan suit thing. The only scandal ever from the Obama administration when he wore a tan suit. This man literally blew up weddings, funerals, hospitals, assassinated a teenaged American citizen, and they're like, liberals are like, the only bad thing that ever happened was this tan suit fake controversy. Which, like, communist social distancing is saying, just how fucking racist and ignorant do you have to be to completely, like, not view literal war crimes, mass murder, as scandals. Yeah, this is pretty cursed, Old Dutch. See, it's bullshit for me because I'm in this no man's land. Obviously, I'm not getting any awards from Ukraine. Zelensky awards senior US, EU, Canada, and other government officials, journalists, and actors, including Fareed Zakaria, Wolf Blitzer,
You can count on me.
Christiane
You're gonna have good
Amanpour,
old Rob to talk
Anderson
you through all
Cooper.
this.
Rob, I thought I missed your stream today. Reminder that maggots and worms need healthcare too. I provide annual exams free of charge.
Thank you, Dr. Maggot. Yeah, it's a later stream today. Tomorrow, going back to the normal schedule of 12 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. Pyongyang time. A little bit later today, though. Thank you again, Dr. Maggot, for all the support. 8 months of Tier 1. Very much appreciated. The inaction of Obama when they had the absolute majority is the worst thing he did or didn't. Like, why didn't they make abortion rights law? You know your presidential administration was a fucking failure when Joe Biden is now looking like a progressive hero and making you look like this stuff again, the like Reaganite. How embarrassing is that? How embarrassing do you have to be to get out progressive by Joe Biden, lifelong reactionary, segregationist, drug warrior, like author of mass incarceration in the United States? He's making Obama look like the Reaganite, and he's the big progressive champion. Way to go, Obama. Fucking embarrassing. So Zelensky awards all these people: Anderson Cooper, Jake Tapper, Nicole Wallace, Ann Applebaum, Sean Penn, Ben Stiller, and Liev Schreiber with the Ukrainian orders and medals. They're the ones that doing the real heroes. Sean Penn. The real heroes who have gone to visit Zelensky. And I'm in this no man's land because obviously I'm not being recognized by Ukraine, obviously. I'm not being recognized by Russia for my contribution to the posting wars. And I'm not even being banned. Like, I would at least, if I could get banned from Ukraine, that would at least be cool. But I'm just getting completely ignored. All my contributions to this posting war have just been completely ignored by people, and I think that's unfair. I'm not being praised, nor am I on a hit list. Exactly. And fucking NAFO. God, I've been trying to avoid learning what NAFO is, and then because the Ukrainian Defense Forces actually posted about it yesterday, I was just like, Jesus. I'd really tried to avoid learning about it, and it's so depressing. Yeah, I'm not on the hit list. Don't say their names 3 times with the lights off. Seriously. God, it's embarrassing. It's a Reddit country, isn't it? It is a Reddit ass country. Redditors got tired of signing up for the actual military and getting immediately fucking vaporized. So instead, they're just like, you know what? We're not going to volunteer for the actual war, but we will engage in the OSINT posting wars. We're tired of... A bunch of us volunteered to actually go there and immediately got instantly blown up. So now we're just going to hang back in the comfort of our own homes and engage in the posting battle. Have they started calling Russia Eastern Ukraine? I do not doubt that they have. I do not doubt it whatsoever. Only famous, influential people on NATO's hit list. We're not quite there yet. Well, I'm hoping I can eventually get there. I mean, geez, you don't need to spell it out for me like that. I guess I'm not influential enough to be counted. That doesn't mean that I can't still work on it. Sweating my ass off in this bunker, retweeting Vosh. God, that's depressing. That's so depressing. It is nuts that I have a lot of friends in other countries, and I can't see their retweets because it's censored in the U.S. for being from Russian state-affiliated accounts. Yeah, it's... Well, like I was saying, it's really weird, the kind of, the way that, this whole conflict has been used as an excuse to purge people from social media who engage in the wrong, the ideas, who engage in wrong think over this. And we're trusting Open Societies Foundation and these tech billionaires who have been part of these color revolutions. We're trusting them to be the ones that finance these NGOs that go into who's promoting Russian disinformation and what isn't. It's really fucking alarming. I have esoteric political tendencies and believe that Taiwan is Eastern Ukraine. Good, yeah. Well, there was that Yankee politician the other day that was talking about that I stand with the Taiwans. Remember that? Was it Marsha Blackburn? Was that who that was? And she was, of course, referring to Taiwan and West Taiwan as well. Yeah, but really alarming the ways that like this has just been completely like supported by people. This kind of censorship campaign. Yeah, let me just check what's on Breakthrough. Breakthrough News is always my go-to news outlet when I want to take a few minutes off of talking, and I think this could be a good time to do that. Let me see what they have here. Nothing really to go along with what we're talking about, unfortunately. Chen Y was all-time tweet about Marsha Blackburn. Yeah, that's right. That was who that was. Of course. People's Dispatch has good Iraq coverage. Let me see. And I know they had something coming up. They had like another... Oops, sorry for that. Because I saw that VJ was doing something. Like a live thing. Let me check out his Twitter to see if he's... Oh yeah, he's doing something with Chomsky. He did like a live thing with Chomsky because he just wrote this book with Chomsky. Oh, I think it's tonight. Okay. It's tonight at People's Forum. His book with Chomsky is being released tonight. Yeah, that's actually starting in half an hour. Okay. That is starting in half an hour. We could look at this clip from Jacobin. Noam and VJ did this thing called the U.S. military as a global mafia. That could be a cool video to take a look at. Oh, I'm going to it tomorrow. Oh, very cool. Very cool, Johnny. Tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow the 30th. Thank you for correcting me. Oh, yeah, August 30th. Okay. There we go. That's really cool that you're going to that, Johnny. You're going to have to report back to us. You're going to have to be our official TRRS correspondent at that event. What do you think about that? You're going to have to report back to us about how it went. And if you do want to ask a question or whatever, you can say, yeah, Johnny from TRRS. You can officially say that. You can wear one of those hats with the press thing in there. You count as that now. Maybe I'll tweet it in real time. He's going to fuck around and tweet it in real time. I'll send you one of those tiny tape recorders. Yes. Absolutely. Let's watch that Chomsky and VJ video. Let's watch that. Have you guys seen the people coming together to put out fire in China? No, I haven't seen that. But you know, one thing that I don't think we've probably talked about enough is the level of like extreme heat wave that China's been experiencing right now. both China and Pakistan right now are dealing with some like incredibly fucking terrifying climate crisis related disasters right now. And I think it's been in our media, it's been barely even mentioned at all. Have you watched Cover Up, the Iran-Contra affair? No, we have not. But that does seem cool, though. I'm gonna go ahead and save that to watch another time on the stream. That seems great. Yeah, the heat wave in China is not supposed to be the worst ever. Yeah, it's like really, it's fucking outrageous. Rivers drying up. Huge forest fires. I saw it. Climate terror on the horizon, inevitably encroaching towards those people who think they're safe over here. And yeah, and China's one thing, you know, it's kind of disingenuous to talk about China's emissions like we've talked about a number of times, considering a lot of those emissions are coming from factories that we sent there so they can make shit, cheap products for us. So it's a little like that argument doesn't make a lot of sense to talk about China's emissions, but like Pakistan is a country that has contributed barely anything at all to like global carbon emissions. And, you know, as we've seen, like when it comes to this kind of climate terror, it's going to be happening in countries, predominantly countries that had nothing whatsoever to do with the like economic and industrial policies that is causing climate change in the first place, you know? And refugees from those countries are going to be, not only are like people are going to die in these countries as a result of these crises, but refugees from these countries are also going to be mistreated and murdered and put in camps as well, trying to immigrate to Western Europe or the United States or Canada or other countries that have directly contributed to the crisis.
We are joined.
Okay, so let's take a look at this clip. It's just like 10 minutes. Not too long. I didn't want to put on something that was like too long. We'll watch this video. We'll chat for another little bit. Then we'll say goodbye. Tomorrow back on schedule. But of course those are just natural disasters, not genocide, of course. Yes. Let's see this.
Joined today by Noam Chomsky and Vijay Prashad to talk about their book, The Withdrawal, Iraq, Libya, Afghanistan, and the Fragility of U.S. Power. So I wanted to start by talking through the way you frame the book. And the book is based off of a discussion, transcripts of a
Victims
discussion
of Capitalism. Yeah, mark that down.
Had. But you use this metaphor of the Godfather, a mafia boss, to discuss U.S. military and geopolitical power. Why did you use this framework? And what about U.S. foreign policy specifically are you trying to shine light on with that metaphor?
I think it's a pretty reasonable first approximation to a theory of international relations. So take the United States since 1945 it basically replaced Britain as the world dominant power. Britain reluctantly became what the British Foreign Office called a junior partner to the United States.
No, I'm very, very
US,
old.
of course,
Looks more and more
had
like an Ed from Lord of the
overwhelming
Rings.
power at the end of the Second World War, nothing remotely like it in history. And it was There was intelligent planning. We have detailed records of it. Every area of the world was assigned what was called its function.
And listen, Chomsky, and first of all, I think it's cool that VJ's doing this book with him. I've had my criticism of Chomsky before, a big, massively influential figure on me, absolutely. The thing I always go back to is talking about the way, and Parenti talked about this as well, but that famous clip about, like, you know, if you didn't believe the things you believe, you wouldn't be here right now. There's been some stuff in British press recently. You have these like reactionary, conservative, high-ranking figures in British media saying like, well, no one's ever told me what to say or what to think. And it's like, no, of course they don't have to tell you what to think. They hire you because you think the ways that you do, and they know that they can just put you to do your job, and you're going to do what needs to be done. Like that's the theory that I think Chomsky kind of expertly has kind of illustrated for people. And as Parenti put it too, they'll let you say what you like because they like what you say. You know, that's what the way Parenti put it, which I always really appreciated. But Noam, and look at all the people getting mad at Noam over the last like the NAFO guys and the bad Baltics takes types. Look at how mad they're getting at Noam. And frankly, Noam's been like excellent, I think, over the last couple of weeks and months, and throughout this whole Russian invasion of Ukraine. He's kind of in this place where, in this kind of like, I give no fucks anymore. I'm going to be dead soon and I don't care anymore. I'm not going to hold back about any of this stuff. And has been like completely brutally honest about this and has pissed people off so much. Yeah, and that's the thing, Matt. VJ seems to have moved him a bit towards his position. Like, I think it's cool that VJ is doing this with Noam Chomsky. Yeah, everyone's calling him a tanky Noam Chomsky. It's hilarious. We're talking about like you're a linguistics professor. Or, you know, what's so disingenuous is that meme that they've made about Chomsky, where it's like, oh, Ukraine's being invaded for no reason. Well, did you ever think that America does bad things also? I'm a linguistics professor. That's the big meme that they love sharing about Chomsky, which is in no way at all representative of Chomsky's actual position on this, which he's been very clear about, which is, first of all, that Ukraine didn't get invaded for no reason. That's the whole thing. And pointing out the significant, sizable role that NATO and the US and Canada have contributed to creating this exact crisis, which should not be controversial. But they suggest that like, they suggest that his only position is like, well, America is bad too, and not putting two and two together to completely deliberately ignore the role, which is right there for everyone to fucking take a look at, that the United States played in Ukraine, not just in the last couple of weeks and months, not just in the last 10 years, but like for decades since the fall of the Soviet Union. The US has been right there helping to create all these exact conditions that lead to this. And people very disingenuously frame this argument as being like, well, the US also does bad things, and completely ignoring this very clear role that America has played in Ukraine, creating this exact situation. So Chomsky has been very good over the last couple of weeks in talking about this. And you can tell by the people getting mad at him exactly how good he's been on it. Yeah, they're calling him a linguistics prof. He's also a philosopher. He's in the scene for 50 years. Yeah. I think taking his whole career, just saying you're a linguistics professor, considering his long history of writing and research on these subjects, is not exactly accurate, I don't think. Excuse me. I've told VJ to his face that he's the next Parenti, and he told me Michael Parenti's the only Parenti. He's a very humble man. Yeah, that's a good answer to that. Johnny, you weren't in the community when I talked to VJ on this channel. I interviewed VJ. It was wonderful. It was probably the highlight of my career in doing this kind of political commentary, was being able to talk to VJ. I'm going to have to get him back. Now that we're friends like this. Now that me and VJ are close, you know? I got to get him back on the show. Maybe, I don't know. I've always taken the position with Chomsky that it's like, this man's very old. I think he should just be left alone. All these random podcasters are always bothering him. Once Chomsky does eventually die, though, I will probably regret not reaching out to him and trying to get him on the show as well. Maybe I just should. Maybe I should just join in. He's talking to everybody else. Why can't he talk to us? He can talk to us. He talks to like every podcaster and streamer that calls this guy. He's there. He's not going to talk to us. Yes, his legendary replies to Sam Harris were so great. He just Sam Harris is like such a wannabe intellectual, and Chomsky just absolutely demolished and destroyed and humiliated him in the most entertaining way. Just absolutely just humiliated him. Anyway. Yes, Rob got the hard questions. Asked like how VJ truly feels about Dire Straits. Exactly, and he does love them.
In the overall system that would be dominated by the United States. So, for example, Southeast Asia, the function was to provide raw materials, resources to the former colonial powers in Europe so that they
I did not see the Julian Casablancas interview.
Within the U.S.-dominated framework. Africa was George Kennan, who was head of the State Department planning staff, who wrote this. He said, we're not much interested in Africa, so we can hand it over to Europe to exploit, his word, to exploit for its reconstruction. And it'll give the Europeans a sense that they have something gratifying. We're taking everything away from them, but they'll have Africa to exploit, and so on through the world. Well, there is what the United States calls a rules-governed international order, a term you hear all the time. The U.S. does not accept the United Nations international order. It helped formulate it, but doesn't accept it. It can't, because the UN system rules out U.S. foreign policy. It bans the threat or use of force in international affairs. So obviously the U.S. can't accept that. So accept the rules-based order where we set the rules and we are effectively the godfather, kind of run like the mafia.
I heard a story about Chomsky the other day. Supposedly his students bought him a Keurig. He later served them cups of coffee that were 90% water. He didn't know the K-cups needed to be replaced. On learning that he threw at the machine and droned on about how horrible for the environment it must be. And indeed, it do be horrible for the environment. That's true.
If some small storekeeper
teach him how to use the
doesn't
machine.
Pay his protection money.
Come on.
You send in your goons to smash him up.
It's like 97 years old. Teach him how to use the fucking machine.
So if Maurice Bishop in Grenada starts fishing cooperatives under the Carter administration,
infinite coffee.
That's a no-no. So you have to send 6,000 special force Marines and special forces to overcome the resistance of 40 Cuban construction workers who already said they're perfectly willing to make an accommodation. Then we can stand tall and be heroic and settle that issue. And so it goes one after the other. The world runs very much like the mafia. The Godfather is in charge. He sets the rules-based international order.
But remember, only Americans are allowed to talk about this, though. You know? Even though the United States is the global mafia don that controls the whole world, that my country is like shares one of the largest borders in the world with, and is constantly just taking orders from, as part of this rules-based international order that Canadian leaders love to lecture people about as well. But of course, we can't comment. We can only ever comment on it. We got to stay in our lane, of course. Yeah. We can never talk about the United States. You don't even live here. Like, I'm sorry. Come on now. This guy made his whole career talking about America. Talking about America. Oh my goodness. How could anyone ever talk about this country? This poor, innocent, small bean empire. He's such a smart guy, and I'd love to shoot him an email to read a column by some think tank goon on my podcast. I don't think that would be a great use of his time. I think it would be. I think it would be a wonderful use of his time. Anyway. I won't address that little nasty little subject anymore.
And everyone else had better obey, or else sometimes there are people who don't obey. In fact, one of the problem with China right now is that China refuses to obey. Now, that's a problem. Europe obeys. When the US imposes sanctions on Cuba and Iran, Europe doesn't like it, but they adhere to it. China.
This winter in Europe is going to be a world historic nightmare. Like, I don't think any of us have really grappled with that, with how much of a fucking disaster it's going to be in the UK, in Germany, in France, all throughout Europe, all the European part of this rules-based international order that have just like literally committed economic suicide because the mafia boss, United States, is just like, this is what we're doing now. And everyone knows, of course, all these countries, especially Germany, a country that has been occupied militarily by the United States since World War II, they don't even really have any say in the matter, do they? They're like, yes, boss. Yes, boss. Nobody should ever debate these days, but I have to admit my favorite Chomsky is when he clowned on William F. Buckley 50 years ago. That was cool. And and I think his owning of Sam Harris was really entertaining as well. No, and they won't take it well, Sean. No, they won't. Again, historically, look up like what happens when you're going to see massive, historic, like previously unthinkable increases in energy prices. Look what happened with the Yellow Vest protests in France over like a small, very small trial version of that. Like, people's energy prices are going to go up so much, it's going to completely destabilize all these different countries. The Greens in Europe are like, no, we can't turn on the nuclear plants because they're bad. Meanwhile, people are burning pellets in their basements to stay warm. Anyone in the UK can testify to this right now, but I think the language coming out about this in the UK right now is absolutely psychotic. These like British boomers that are like, oh, during the Blitzkrieg, it was cold all the time, innit? You know, it's doing us it's going to do us some good. They like want to suffer in a weird way, don't they? They like want to suffer because they view that these current generations just haven't gone through the suffering that they did. When, of course, people died, of dozens of people, hundreds of people, thousands of people during this period. But like, no one died. It's like, they did, though. They did, sir. But like, the British are so fucking weird that they're almost looking forward to it. It's just frozen water, isn't it? Like, it's unbelievable to see like what the media commentary about the impending energy crisis in Britain, like the commentary about it. It's absolutely insane. The thing is, during the Blitz, people were fucking pissed, but they made up a fake story about how nice it was getting bombed every day. Yeah, no, of course. And half these people weren't even alive then, but they think that they were alive because they've been poisoned by fucking literally watching movies about this for their whole lives. And they weren't even there, but they view it as some kind of noble, heroic thing that they themselves participated in. It's like you literally watched films about this, and that's your only connection to it. Yeah, just like the 2-year-olds who lived under Castro's regime, exactly. Yeah. Like, I think that's why this analogy is so great, though, about the U.S. military being a global mafia, because they're literally telling their subordinate countries in Europe to just jump off a cliff right now, and they're all going, yes, sir, and they're just going right to it. It's really been an incredible thing to watch, and I don't even know what is going to happen in these European countries this winter. I don't think any of us have really prepared for how bad that's going to get going along the current path. And it goes back to the beginning of the invasion and stuff, and all the stuff about sanctioning Russia. It always comes up, all outcomes have been considered, something like that is what they said. When all these countries were, teaming up to sanction them. And they knew exactly like how this was going to play out. It's like, okay, I guess to Germany, like, shut off the Nord Stream pipeline, I guess. If you want to punish us by shutting off your flow of natural gas into your own country, all right, I guess go for it. you know? And so just all these countries, though, have just willingly, knowingly have jumped off a cliff, literally just because the United States said so, told them to. Let's see. People freezing, people blaming immigrants, a rise in fascistic membership organizations, and the government saying their hands are tied for one reason or another. It's kind of a toxic mix of different factors there, which could potentially have some really, really terrifying results. Also going aside, tied together with the mass normalization of fascism and the full promotion of this double genocide theory about the Holocaust, which is really accelerated over the last 6 months. This total mask off normalization, venerating all these fascist groups in Ukraine and promoting this alternate version of history. Eventually, the U.S. will run out of strategic reserves and our gas prices will go back up too. And people here will be 1970s level pissed. I mean, that's the thing. It's we're in Canada and the United States, we're going to probably mostly avoid that. Not entirely for now, though. But this is going to have all global consequences in the global energy supply. I mean, let me put this back on, though. I've been yapping away here.
Ignores the Godfather. And that's intolerable. That's what's called the China threat in U.S. affairs. And a good deal of, I don't want to exaggerate, not everything works this way, but I say it's a pretty good first approximation to the way the world works.
If I could add to that, there's a contemporary set of examples for that. Let's take the case of the United States and the African continent. Linda Thomas Greenfield, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, was in Ghana and Uganda. Whilst in Ghana, she made a number of statements warning African countries, 55 of them, telling them
Africa's
not
not having
to
any of this
trade
shit.
with Russia and China. She was quite forthright. Now, that's interesting. Just before the ambassador went to the African continent, and just before US Secretary of State Antony Blinken followed her to say much the same thing, there was a visit to some African countries by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Interestingly, Mr. Lavrov didn't say to African countries, don't trade with the United States. Now, you may have all kinds of problems with Russia, and believe me, there are lots of problems with Russia. But on the public record, the Russians weren't going around telling people, and the Chinese certainly don't do this, don't trade with the United States. But seemingly, it's perfectly accurate, it's perfectly acceptable to sections of the liberal media, including liberal media in the United States, the New York Times, Washington Post, and so on.
Western lecture.
That high officials of the United States government can go around the African continent and say, we are telling you what to do. That sort of what Noam calls the Godfather attitude is treated as perfectly normal. Now, interestingly, Linda Thomas Greenfield,
But at what
in
cost,
one of
John?
the
At what
interviews she
cost?
gave in Accra, said that US foreign policy on Africa, US foreign policy in Africa is an open book. That was the phrase she used. Well, let's open the book. What open book is she reading? If you go back to the 1960s, there was great anxiety in the US ruling class circles because the tendency of the freedom movement in the Congo was towards the left. And indeed, Patrice Lumumba wins a fair and square election to head his government. Now, why was the United States bothered by an election in the Congo which elected Patrice Lumumba? So bothered that US intelligence worked with Belgian intelligence and British intelligence, not only to overthrow Mr. Lumumba, but to assassinate him in 1961. What was the problem? I'm offering the ambassador a book to read. She should read a book called White Malice, recently come out, which demonstrates using archives in the United States and in the United Kingdom that the reason the United States was so bothered with Lumumba is that there is a uranium mine in the Congo at Shinkolbe. This mine is the mine from which the United States sourced uranium for the bombs against Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The United States couldn't allow the Congolese to trade uranium with the Soviet Union. And that's the reason they enter and conduct a, well, undemocratic, that's a charitable word to use, an undemocratic coup against the people of the Congo. So it's an open book, but what book are you reading? And that's the reason why the term Godfather is so valuable, because it shows you how normal that behavior is and how much nobody blinks an eye when people like, very nice people, by the way, Linda Thomas Greenfield, awfully nice person, when they say things like this, it's taken as fact, not as ideology. And I think that's the real concern here.
If you like this video from The Jacobin Show, please hit like and subscribe and share with your friends. Thanks.
It seems like there should be more of that, isn't there? That was cool, though. And yeah, I'm kind of shocked Jacobin would allow an actual communist to talk like this. I think my understanding of Jacobin is that for better or worse, they're kind of committed to this like marketplace of ideas kind of thing and participating and having views that are kind of along this line, but in a more like socialist leaning direction. And sometimes I think as a result of that kind of mindset, they will publish a lot of stuff that I think is kind of lame social democrat shit. But I think they'll also have platforms good people as well, and they'll have decent articles, and they'll at least promote that kind of perspective, even if it's not like the official editorial line. There is a full video. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to stick around for the entire video though, so I do have to get going soon. Again, it's the last episode of the summer. It's the last day of the summer schedule. Going back tomorrow to regular schedule. Never forget the famous Kautsky was right Jacobin article. I have not seen that one. Hot Rob Summer's ending. It'll probably still be fairly hot for the rest of this the next month or so. So I'll still try to get off a few summer fits, even though the schedule is back to normal. I'll still try to get off a few summer vibe shift looks for the benefit of you folks. We should reply to Kautsky. Yeah, come on. Q2 Social Credit Awards. We'll do that this week, okay? Maybe since tomorrow is the first episode back in normal schedule, then we'll do it. I've been promising this for a while. Is quarterly to you, Red Scary? You just want to get acknowledged, don't you? Red Scary just wants to get acknowledged. We all know Red Scary is going to be high in the rankings of the clout scores because of the tireless work that Red Scary puts into creating great communities in the Discord server. We will do this. We will acknowledge Red Scary. Okay? We will acknowledge Red Scary. One of my primary detractors. Yeah, best bullying. You give her the best bullying award. We're having a minor heat wave this week, so I'm getting all my summer dresses in one last time. It's my social credit. I earned it. I've been working my underwear for weeks from home. Well, I'm still with this. I'm still in the 5 inches. This has been my whole summer. My whole summer has been mostly this. Sometimes I wear shorts that are slightly longer, but it's been mostly this. It's about to be the end of Q3. Wow, I really did slack on this. Maybe we should just do a whole... Maybe should we combine Q3 and Q2? Nice thighs, permission to simp. Permission granted. Permission granted. I do have to get going soon, folks. I've been waiting all stream for some thigh. Okay, well, good. I do have to get going. We're coming up on hour 3. I'll be back tomorrow at noon, 1 a.m. Pyongyang time. We'll do the second quarter clout awards, okay? Social credit awards. We will do it. We'll do it tomorrow. Mark my words. I promise tomorrow.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
No, the Pyongyang bit is a permanent feature of the show. Don't worry about that. John, thank you for the gifted sub. Very much appreciated, John McCain's Ghost. One of our valued community members. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. And I do have to go soon. Okay, the fantasy league is almost full. You might get knocked. Okay, I didn't know getting knocked out was a possibility. I thought I had to October to do this. Join league. Okay, I just have to click the link. That's all I have to do. Looks good.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old
Join
Rob
league.
to talk you through all this.
Triangle Gang 2D for life.
Did I join? I keep on. There is not room in this league if all the teams from last year return. I'm getting an error now. If you were invited to take over an existing team, please click the link in the email you received to join the league. Now I have to go into the email now. Jesus. But I would say as well, though, folks, because I have to go soon. Human Person, thank you so much for the 7 months of Tier 1. And you have one last chance. If people do, listen, if you watched the stream today and hung out and you liked the stream and you enjoyed being part of the community, I encourage you to please subscribe to the channel. Get the emotes, all the wonderful emotes, and even better emotes in Tier 2 and 3 subs. Join the community. Join the exclusive to Twitch trickle down clout and friendship access 2-dimensional shaped triangular system. The friendship triangle. You can do that for a measly, a tiny $5 per month. Or using your Amazon Prime account completely free of charge. Completely free of charge. Okay? That's the pitch. Okay, I'm in, Squatch. I did it. I got it. Bezos is finally letting Human Person loose after a long and frankly unjust confinement. I agree. Time to open a freaking email, but not to do the Cloud Awards. I'm using my B-word pass. Rob is a bitch. Oh my goodness. Listen, I'll tell you what. I don't know if this is unfair. We could do the Cloud Awards right now. If I can only get to 25 subs even, which is barely anything. That's so easy to get there. And then we can do the awards right now, right this very moment. Right this moment. Right? That seems fair. That seems fair to me. Holding awards hostage. If I don't, it's okay, and we'll just do it tomorrow. Chad, just dead silent. Dead silent. I had to try, okay? I'm sorry, all right? I'm sorry I tried to hold the awards hostage for subs, literally trying to make us bribe him to do his job. That's right. That's exactly what is going on here. Digging the Hunter Biden talk a little too much to heart. Okay. Well, you know what? I can't back down now and do it now, but we can do it tomorrow. We will do the Cloud Awards tomorrow.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Oh boy. Do the awards. You got $20. Red Wine TRRS, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the 4 gifted subs. That's very kind of you. Once again, folks, I'm sorry, okay, for extorting people, for guilting and shaming people into subscribing to this channel. I'm sorry. Do you think I like this? Do you think I like doing this to myself? Do you think it's psychologically, it feels good to do that? No, it doesn't. No, it does not. I don't enjoy it and I don't like it, but I have to do it. I have to do it because for some reason I got stuck in this endless content mill hamster wheel funneling money up to Jeff Bezos. I don't know how it happened, but that's how I ended up here. Okay, that's why I'm still doing this today. I got stuck in doing it and now I can't leave. I can never leave. I have to do this forever now. I have to do this forever. That's why I have to do it, okay? Okay, that's a little long. Trickle up economics. Exactly. Well, that's how the friendship triangle works. All right? You can be a member of the community, and it's great to be a member of the community on the base level of the friendship triangle. What's even better than that, though, is being in the elite tier. All right? And I'm just trying to help people when it comes to that kind of thing. You know? Okay. Jeff Bezos is just standing just off screen with a pistol aimed at Rob's chest. Exactly correct. Exactly what's happening. Okay, so I think it's in production. The official, the secret Lodane Rob channel. Where is it? Where are those cloud awards? Where do I find? Is it just that long ago that I've just forgotten about it? Oh yes, it was. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna open it over here. I'm gonna have to spoil anything here. I can only go back so long. I can only do the top 20, I think. Okay? I can only do the top 20. I'm not gonna go through hundreds here and do this whole pitch. Okay. Again, I'm still getting used to talking so much. Turn that down a bit. Okay. Okay, so this is, people have been asking for it. People have been demanding it. This is now the official Q2 Social Credit Awards, the TRRS Q2 Social Credit Awards. Welcome, everyone. I'm happy to be joining us today. And remember, in the TRRS Discord server, when you do something thoughtful or helpful and someone says to you, thank you, there's a social credit bot that gives you a little bit of social credit anytime someone says thank you. And today we will be going over the top 20 social credit havers in this community. Use the text, not the PDF. Where do I find that? But then I'm going to have to open that up in an entirely different window. I feel. Right? Okay, I just have to continue. I have to continue, Lodane. Okay, so coming in at the honorable mention to Sam Sider, Carrier Wave, Bort, and Moss World. Honorable mention to each and every one of them. And starting at number 19, we have community member Dakadoon with 11 social credit points. It's actually a three-way tie for 19th place between Dakadoon, Waldo, and Alana Nana. Congratulations to the three of you. At number 17, we've got Damn Boxes with 12 social credit points. Congratulations to Damn Boxes. At number 17, we've got community member Peggy Hill, who is our friend Lana, aka the Freak Museum here on Twitch. Really good Twitch streamer and a friend of mine and someone who spends time in this community. Always appreciate Lana's insight in the Discord server. Congratulations to Lana. For coming in at number, also a tie for 17 with 12 social credit points. At number 15, a tie for number 15, we've got 10,000 Sandwiches and Bolden with 13 social credit points. At number 12, we've got community member Mother Trucka with 14 social credit points. As someone who enjoys his presence often, seems a little touchy in the old Discord server with the banning people and that kind of stuff, but no problem, no big deal. Going on also in a tie at number 12, a three-way tie with Big Wig and our friend Encouraging People Always. Congratulations to each and every one of you. At number 11, we've got our mysterious community member Lyle Langley, who often comes through with extremely long and detailed TRRS episode reviews. We don't see him as much lately, but we love Lyle Langley. Congratulations to Lyle. At number 11, with 15 social credit points. And again, we went through this last time, folks. We're getting into the top 10. At number 10, yours truly, Rob Rousseau, with 16 social credit points. Now, don't ask me to explain this. I'm the one that hosts the show. I'm the one that, created the community along with Lodane and people that have contributed to it, of course. Still, I feel it's a little weird that I'm only at number 10. I feel like as the kind of person that's helped, played a role in creating this community and does host the stream, that to me should be top 5 material. I don't know if it's that much a big deal to say thank you. People can say thank you sometimes, but it's not, I don't think about it. I don't think about it that much. It doesn't bother me. I'm just saying that, in TRRS, that's actually my initials that are in there. Maybe I could just be in the top 5. I don't know. Maybe we could think about that for next time. Anyway, a little bit of a sidebar there. Congratulations to me for coming in 10th place. At number 9, we've got the Lorax with 17 social credit points. Number 8, our friend Cinnamon Challenge, aka Sin Chow, with 18 social credit points. Congratulations to Sin Chow. At number 7, we've got our friend M. Carnoba with 23 social credit points. M. Carnoba, who has done more than anyone to take this community offline from the Twitch and Discord world and turn it into a real life actual thing. So well deserved, M. Carnoba. At number 6, we of course have Lodane, our beloved mod, 38 social credit points. Lodane, there was at one point that Discord server was just me and Lodane and a whole bunch of tumbleweeds and not a lot going on there. So Lodane has been part of this community right from the day one, from day zero, when this community didn't even exist. Lodane was there. I appreciate you very much, Lodane. Number 5, we've got John McCain's Ghost with 44 social credit points. Congratulations, John. At number 4, we've got our friend G. Kleppy with 60 social credit points. Congratulations to G. Kleppy. A huge showing in the Q2 Social Credit Awards. Number 3, we've got our friend Doc Hollywood with 73 social credit points. We love Doc Hollywood and his contributions to this community and his stream as well, which we raid often. Congratulations to Doc. At number 2 is unofficial stream VIP Red Scary with 168 social credit points. Congratulations to Red Scary. And Red Scary, thank you for everything you do in this community. I'm sorry I'm not able to participate in it more. I would really actually love to.
You're going to have good old
because
Rob
of
to talk
my
you through all this
schedule and my family stuff. But Red Scary, of course, hosts the theory reading book clubs, which have become very popular. And I've heard nothing but really great things about those. And I'm so happy that people are using that space to read and learn together like this. I think that's so wonderful. So thank you, Red Scary, for that. And thank you, Risk Inverse, as well. for the gifted sub just now. Thank you very, very much, Risk and Verse. And at number 1, just edging out. To me, it's a little unfair to have mods be, and Lodane doesn't count, obviously. But anyway, congratulations to Outrun coming in at number 1, just edging out Red Scary with 180 social credit points. Outrun, of course, does a lot for the community. Very much appreciate Outrun's contributions in his created designs that we've used in the merch. Is a mod here on Twitch and on Discord. Hosts, of course, the legendary marbles racing events that happen in this community, which I sometimes try to drop in on. And of course, I'm very familiar with all the teams and all the team names and who's on what team. I know all of that stuff. He showed like 1,000 movies this quarter. Yeah, we do have to give it up. We do have to give it up for Outrun. And in fact, we will be next weekend watching the film. And yet another reason for you to join the Discord, we will be watching James Cameron's masterpiece, Avatar. We will be watching Avatar next weekend, I believe. Let me check that, but join the Discord server and check the events, because we will be watching James Cameron's Avatar very soon, this Saturday. There's the man himself, the man of the hour, Outrun. We will be watching it this Saturday. Avatar, James Cameron's classic film, Avatar. Congratulations to all our winners today in the TRRS Q2 Social Credit Awards. You're all winners as far as I'm concerned. Thank you, Dr. Maggot, for the 420.
Thank you, Rob, our glorious leader.
Thank you, Dr. Maggot. I don't know what that YouTube link was, though. How do I look at that? Okay. Here. What is this? It's the song They Might Be Giants, Dr. Worm, which I can't play for copyright reasons. But thank you very much, Dr. Maggot. And so, yeah, thank you, everyone. Congratulations to all our winners and even the people that didn't get a mention. I'm very thankful that you all are part of this community and contribute to it in this way. This community is a real delight for me. I'm very, very happy that it exists. And, you people, it's not about me as much as I was ranting about that earlier. It's not about me. It's all about you, the community members that make this community what it is. And I thank each and every one of you for being part of it. Oh my gosh. Dr. Maggot, thank you for the 4 gifted subs. Thank you, Dr. Maggot. Wonderful. I really appreciate that, Dr. Maggot. Thank you very much. And thank you again to everyone for being part of the community and supporting the channel. Very, very much appreciated. And that does it for the TRRS Q2 Social Credit Awards. It's good with that music. Okay. There we go. Sorry, that was fun. I don't know why it took me so long to do that. I just forgot to do it. Thank you, everybody, for watching the stream today. I will be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow, 12 p.m. Once again, 1 a.m. Pyongyang time. Okay? Barring some kind of unforeseen disaster. Greetings from Slovakia. Hello, Grizzly. Thanks for joining us. I'm sorry, I looked at the wrong thing, Lodane. I was on a roll and then I couldn't get out of it. Okay? The next one I will do it properly, I promise. This is my promise to you. Okay, who are we rating here? You had Famous Horse rating. I think we can raid Famous Horse today. And I'm not expecting it at all. But if there was someone just passing through the stream right now, just checking that out, that wanted to give 5 subs to get to the sub goal before the end of the stream, I wouldn't say no to it, but I'm not officially asking. Okay? How about that? I'm not officially asking. I'm simply saying that if someone had the urge to do that, I wouldn't like be mad about it, or I wouldn't say no to it. That's all I'm saying. Okay? Thank you again for everyone for hanging out today. I'll talk to you tomorrow, all right? Now I'm just going to drink my water and I'm going to sit here for 20 seconds until we do the raid. You thought I was leaving just now, didn't you? No, I wasn't. I wasn't leaving.